Official. Are we recording? Boom, we're recording. Welcome to the replay. If you're just getting here, we almost totally forgot to record this whole thing. Aren't you glad we didn't forget? We're going to talk about how to start a side hustle from like a work from home side hustle. And you're going to learn the best high value skills that you need to be learning to create a side hustle from home. We've seen the ones that work and the ones that don't. Actually, we've done them all. We're going to teach you how to get your first paid clients and how to get over the asking for money for things, how to get confidence with that, and the best way to shortcut your learning with all of it. And Will just said before we started recording this, Will just said, we're going to show you like, here's step by step by step, here's what you need to do. And if you want help with this, we have a brand new program that we're going to accept people into at the end if you want help with it. Okay, that's the short of it. All right, Will, let's talk about health, wealth, and relationships. Why are these the three problems that we can solve?
You see if we can get 500 people in here.
Yeah, no, I'll see if we can get more people on because we're maxed out.
All right, so there are more than just these three, but we like to look at the categories of how you can solve problems for people when it comes to their lives and business. And we have health, wealth, and relationships. Now, I know a lot of you have listened to us before, and so you might know the answer to this. But I want to ask every single one of you, which do you feel like people pay the most money to have solved out of these three different types of problems? Health, wealth, or relationships? Which types of problems do you think people pay the most money to have solved? We've got wealth, 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 health, wealth, 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 health, relationships. Nice. Relationship, health. We got all kinds of answers. So here's what I want to do. I want to do a quick thought experiment with you guys. Some of you already know this. How many of you would give me $10,000 if I told you that I could take away your knee pain right now? Let's say you have knee pain that's 5 out of 10. It's been bothering you for 3 weeks. And I said, right now, be truthfully honest. If I could take away your knee pain, would you pay me $10,000? Yes or no? I want to see in the comments, yes or no. No, no, no. Yes, no, no, yes, no, 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 no. Okay, no. Let me ask you this question. If I could make you $100,000, would you give me $10,000? If I could show you $100,000, would you pay me $10,000? Of course, heck yeah. Yeah, but only with that math. Yes, yes. Of course, right? Yes, yes. Okay, so this experiment right here is to just show you really quickly that people pay the most money for wealth problems to be solved. And by that, I mean people perceive wealth problems to be much more difficult to solve than health problems or relationship problems. This is really important that we understand this, guys, because you could go learn side hustles that you could try to fix, do life coaching. You could try to do personal training, which are all important. But we want to show you that if you're going to put your time into something, that the best bang for your buck is to solve wealth problems. We're going to dive exactly into what that means here in just a second. But if you look at this, the biggest thing is when you can solve a problem that is perceived to be very difficult, how many people right now do you know find it very difficult to make money? How many people do you know find it difficult to make money? We perceive it as a very difficult problem. Most people go through life perceiving the ability to make money as a very difficult problem. Now, if I said I have to solve my knee pain, you and I know how complicated that is. But the average person is going to go, I'll see if I can try to figure that out on YouTube first. If you are a physical therapist or you've worked with someone and you have had people come in and say, yeah, I tried to YouTube that first. I tried to Google it first. Has that been you before? Yes or no?
Totally Googled my back pain many times. I'm going to switch microphones too, so Sam. Let's get this on.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yes, yes, yes. I love Dr. Google, says Anthony. I love it. So when we look at it that way, we perceive health problems to not be as difficult to solve. We also, so yes, all three are involved, we should say. All three are tied together. But the one that people perceive to be the most difficult is to solve wealth problems. Alex, outside of physical endeavors and what has been the most difficult task that you have done in terms of in your life in the last like 5 years? What has been the hardest thing to do?
Starting a business that can pay my family.
Boom. The hardest thing, right? Harder than solving your weight gain and like strength building.
Oh yeah. I got to figure that one out still, but yes, way harder. And I've paid a lot more money for the business the business problems than I have the health problems.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about solving wealth problems. And why do we focus on digital skills? We are going to talk about solving wealth problems through digital skills. And why we're going to do that is, number one, a lot of you are younger, so this might not be as simple of a question. But for a lot of people, do you think for the majority of people, tech issues, solving tech problems, digital skills is easy or hard for most people?
Better say, yeah, hard. Look, for us, we're on a webinar. We just tried to get 500 people on, which we opened it up, Will. We opened it up. Like, this stuff is hard. This is even hard for Will and I. We do this all day long. Like, this stuff's not inherently easy for anyone, right? That's why, as we're talking about why this, and then we'll get into the flow of how we do it. This is just why we decided to start solving digital problems for people. And when I say digital problems, I mean that we're solving money problems in a digital way. And so when we're looking at why do we start this way, you want to have more than ever, the paradigm that healthcare is a quote unquote safe job has been absolutely shattered. And we have no clue how long current circumstances are going to last. But I think that what we've seen is no matter what, we need to have a way to create income for ourselves that isn't exclusively tied to one skill set anymore. Like that's always been true. We just didn't know it as much as we do right now. And so I from the very beginning of my schooling realized, I was about a year into physical therapy school when I realized I need to have another way to create income for myself. And I am so glad that I figured that out 3 years ago. And this is what we want you to figure out for yourself. Now, it might not, honestly, you might be on here and the digital skill set side, it might honestly not be what you need to learn right now. Like, that's totally fine. And if you want to jet, like we're cool with that. But what I do want to encourage you to do is find different ways to make yourself valuable in the world. Like, if you got in a car accident and you lost your arm and you're a manual therapist, would there be another way that you could serve people? Like, think about when crap hits the fan like it does right now, do I have multiple ways that I can keep my family afloat? And that's why I decided I needed to do this. Number two, if I can click the screen, there we go. Number two is why digital skills? You want to be able to solve problems for people who can afford to pay you well. How many people here want to help those who are absolutely clutching their money, never want to let it go, and are absolutely looking for the cheapest solution 100% of the time? Myron Golden would call them cheapo people. But how many of you would rather solve problems for people who have plenty of money and are spending it actively? Do you want to solve problems for people who are holding on to it with an iron fist? Or do you want to solve problems for people who have it and are spending it freely? Which one? I don't feed closed mouths. Money spenders have it freely, right? People who have it.
I want to add a caveat. I want to add a caveat to that as well. Let's say that you want to help people who are less fortunate, who don't have the means, right? And you might be thinking, like I used to think, which is, well, I don't really care about money. And I just want to help those people, even if it doesn't pay well, because that's what I want to do. Money is a tool that gives us time and that gives us options. And you will find out real quick, if you really want to help those people, if you actually have all the time in the world to spend it. And the only way that you get all the time in the world to spend it is if you have enough money to buy yourself time. And so if you want to help more of those people, actually the best way to help them is to be able to make enough money to buy yourself time to help even more of those people. If you're with me, for example, if I'm the only one who can go help them, that is just me who can go help that group of people. If I have enough money that I can pay a team of people to help them, I can help so many more of those people. But I can't do that without enough money to pay those people. Does that make sense? If you're listening to me, does that make sense? I want you to unhinge this piece of your mind that might be like mine that said, hey, well, I don't want to care about money. I just want to go help people to help people. Well, that was the most selfish thing that I could do because it was I could only help so many people with my own time. But if I knew how to get money, which is a tool, which comes from people who have money, and I could help them with the skill to give me more money, I could free up more time and have the ability to hire people to go help even more of the people who are less fortunate. So don't play the mind game. that I used to play, that by playing small and not worrying about something like money made me somewhat righteous, because I was actually serving less people than I could if I had gotten out of my own mind, learned how to provide high value skills that people are willing to pay. And mind you, Alex and I are in our business, we have a mission. We have a mission-based business, which means we only work with companies who have positive, forward-thinking missions. We don't work with people who have money, who are going to go do bad things in the world. We only work with people, we turn down opportunities. We only work with people who have a positive mission in their own business. And there are plenty of those people out there. We take the money, we provide a service for them, and with that money, we're able to have time and now serve tons of people like this. So I want you to be able to understand that. You do want to work with people who can afford to pay you well, so you can have the money to buy time to go help more of the people that you want to help.
Yeah, can I just tell you right here, I really appreciate this comment from Sarah that said, I want to solve problems for people who don't have enough money. Me too, Sarah. I absolutely love helping people who are not fortunate enough to be in a circumstance where they can't afford to pay lots of money. Guess what? I've had the coolest experience over the past month. With all of this craziness going on, a lot of people are finding themselves in circumstances where they don't have money. And they're finding themselves in circumstances where they realize they haven't taken good care of money. And about a month ago, I decided I wanted to start helping people do that. And because of the business that I have, because of the income that we have, because we serve people with money, I'm able to go create a program where I can say, here's this program, and whether or not you can pay me, I want you in. I can't tell you how good it felt to be able to do that for people who are struggling right now, and be able to say, without caring whether or not I got paid, I can help you with this. But I could not have done that 3 years ago because I had to feed my family. And I want you to get out of scarcity mode where you feel like I have to be able to make this sale. Because once you get out of that, and once you realize how to create income for yourself that frees you of that need to always be making money, then it allows you to go do things like that philanthropically and spend your money and spend your resources to help people. So if you want to help people who don't have money, it's going to cost you money. And I want you to go make that money so that you can then be freed up to help them. My mom worked for a charity for many, many years. Do you know how much money it costs to run a charity? Do you know how the wealthy benefactors kept that going so that they could serve people who didn't have resources? You having money makes you a better person so that you can keep helping. It doesn't make you a better person. It empowers you to be able to make decisions independent of the money, which ultimately I believe brings out the best version of yourself so that you can serve the world instead of just always thinking about the money. Okay, I didn't want to dwell on that too much, but I think it's a really important point. This is part of the money mindset that we need to fix.
Yeah. Also, by the way, if you think that if people don't have money, do you think that's, and this isn't to say anything crazy, but in general, by the way, I have found, including myself, when I didn't have money, it was because I didn't know how to get more money. And oftentimes I didn't know how to keep money. But that starts with, how do you even make enough money to be able to keep it? And if we don't know how to make enough money for ourselves, how in the hell do we ever plan to help someone else get out of that trap for themselves? How? That's like being, you have to, right? Give a man a fish, they eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, they eat forever. And why we bring this up is because Alex and I could have been so much further ahead in life, and we're doing well and we're happy. We could have been so much further ahead if we'd gotten out of our own way of the mindset of all of this, and how much more we're able to impact and help people. By the way, guys, this training wouldn't be here if I didn't get that out of my mind. We wouldn't be able to talk to you and help you. I would be in a PT clinic, maybe not right now, but I would have been in a PT clinic, probably doing notes right now. I'd probably still be doing my notes from my home health job. If I hadn't learned how to solve problems that paid me enough money to buy my time back, to be able to help even more people, I could only help 8 patients a day in my home health job. I'm helping over 115 right now because I have the time. Because I learned skills that provide enough money for me to free up time to help even more people. I hope that makes sense.
Ooh. All right, so what we're teaching you today, man, this is interesting, because I honestly didn't think that we would go down this route. But it is so much, guys. It's about how you view money and the world. And so many of us view it as something that is wrong or evil or hard to get. And I will tell you that you will work as hard as you possibly can to validate the beliefs that you hold right now. And if you believe those things about the world, that it is hard to make money, if you believe that it is hard to keep money, if you believe that people don't spend money, that there's not enough of it to go around, if you believe that you making more of it hurts somebody else, I really want to challenge you on that. And I want to challenge you to look at, am I working to validate that in my life if I believe that? Because we work to validate our beliefs and we work according to them. And we're hoping to give you a new belief today, a belief that it is possible to use skills that are highly valuable in a way that serves someone who is willing to pay you a lot of money to help them. And this is coming from someone who had a very broken money mindset. I could not ask for money. It felt so hard to ask for $30 to edit a video. And we've changed how we view our ability to solve problems. And now instead of trembling to ask for a $30 sale, now we can ask for a $30,000 sale to help someone solve a big problem for them. This is about looking at what is the opportunity cost of me continuing to believe toxic thoughts. Hopefully in all aspects of your life. But specifically tonight, we're talking about the side hustle game. If you believe that you making money is evil, if you believe that it's hard to do, then you will validate that. And so what we're showing you is, let's look at tactically, how do we shift that? Well, we shift that by saying, if I used to believe that money was hard for me to come by, or if I don't believe that I could ask for money for a skill like this, how do we do this? Well, number one, we realize that if I've had trouble selling something before, I need to realize, what market am I in? Am I in health, wealth, or relationships? Cool. We're telling you, choose wealth as much as you can. Choose to solve wealth problems as much as you can. And then we just told you, find ways to create income streams that are varied. Get really good at one thing, yes, but then you know that you're ultimately going to want to have something else that can allow you to sustain times like this when everything goes crazy. Number two, we said you want to solve problems for people who can pay you well, because it's a lot easier to ask for a sale from someone who can pay you well than from someone who can't. And number three is, if we understand those two principles, then we understand that businesses spend way more than individuals because we're solving different problems for them. And so a business, I didn't understand this. A business spends more money to solve a problem than a person would be willing to spend money to solve a problem. This is why we look at, when we solve wealth problems, especially for a business, this is why we can ask more from them, while we're still spending perhaps the same amount of time that we might be helping an individual solving a health problem or solving a relationship problem. We can spend that same amount of time getting paid a much higher dollar per time spent to solve a business problem for someone. The cool thing is, for a lot of businesses, like they know that everything that they're paying you, if you have a digital side hustle, everything they're paying you, it's a tax write-off for them. Like, they're getting a 30% discount straight off the top anyway, plus they need it to solve a business problem for them.
So real quick, out of these first two, what type of problem are we going to solve? If you're listening to this and you are going to follow what we say, what type of problem are you going to solve? Health, wealth, or relationship, if you have to choose to start tomorrow?
Wealth, 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 wealth. Yay.
Second
Yay,
question,
everyone.
so you're following well. Second question, are you going to solve that problem for an individual or for a business? which, by the way, a business is a group of individuals. It's people, right? So we're still helping people. In fact, you're helping more people. And guess what businesses serve? What problems do they solve? They solve problems for other people. You're always helping more people when you're helping businesses.
Mm. Mm. And then this is the thing that I think right now is so, like, it has never been more pertinent than it is right now. I just watched a training today, and it got me thinking how quickly the past 4 weeks have changed our world.
Mm.
And if you look at curves of technology adoption, or really any new thing, like the iPhone, for example, when the iPhone first came out years and years ago, if you look at just pure economics, there are adoption curves where you have early adopters. Who here had an original iPhone? Did anyone here, just say me, if you had one of the very first iPhones, the iPhone 1, I don't even think they call it the iPhone 1, they just call it the iPhone. Did you have an iPhone? Okay, Amanda, yes. Lauren, yes. Who saw the iPhone and thought it was kind of ridiculous when it came out? And you're like, no, I'm never getting an iPhone. And then you got one. Did anyone, were you the skeptic? If you were skeptic, just put skeptic. Maybe you're Android. Cool, I'm on Android right now. But there's always an adoption curve to technology. There's a percentage of early adopters. They're usually like 5 to 10% of consumers that are the early adopters. And then you get sort of the people who are slightly less crazy, who see the early adopters as really cool, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm getting on that bandwagon too. Sweet, iPhone all the way, baby. And then you get like the masses that are like, okay, now it's socially acceptable for me to have this thing, and it's kind of cool, I'll buy it. And then you have the people who lag, that are like, I'm holding out, not going to buy that thing. I'm not going to buy that thing. Finally, like, man, my flip phone is so dated. Okay, I'll buy it. There's adoption curves in everything. In telehealth, there's been adoption curves. In using Amazon, there's adoption curves. In using grocery pickup or delivery services, there's adoption curves. How many of you have ordered groceries on your phone or on the computer in the past month? How many of you? Just put me, if you have ordered groceries on your phone or on your computer in the past month. Me, oh yeah, me. If I were to have asked that 2 months ago, it would have been like 10%. Very, very few. So what this has done to us is it has accelerated the online adoption curve. Everything has been moved online. Schools are now online. Groceries are now online. Amazon, absolutely flooded. Learning online. Businesses have to learn to move online right now, literally more than ever before. If they're going to survive, especially the next 3 months, but probably the next year to year and a half, they're going to have to adapt to being able to reach people online. How many more businesses do you think are now going to be thinking about having an online presence, about having a way to reach people, about running ads, about having a good website, about being able to put out a podcast, about having good videos? All of these things are all of a sudden going to be incredibly important to millions and millions of businesses who maybe were on the slower end of the adoption curve. And there's going to be a massive demand for digital skills in the immediate and next year or so future as these businesses shift. It's just going to happen. And if you think that it's like, oh, everything's going to go back to normal really soon, I'm telling you, things are going to change. Things are going to change. This is, it's incredibly sad what's happening. And for those who see it as such, it is also an incredible opportunity to serve people in new ways. Some of the biggest,
this is happening either way.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like we just accelerated ridiculously. Biggest companies, if you look at them, the biggest companies, GE, they were all born out of these terrible recessions, these terrible things that happened. And then there was this massive progress after. I firmly believe that there's going to be massive progress after this. The online world is going to explode. And we've already seen that. Zoom itself, what we are on right now, has seen almost 100 times increase in their business in like 2.5 weeks. It's been ridiculous. Guys, this is only going to get more and more needed, which is why I feel like learning these skills right now is such a critical time to be able to do it. If you feel like you want to start diversifying things for yourself. Anything else here, Will? Sorry. I
want to ask you a real question. I want you guys to think about this because what Alex said was so spot on. And I want you to think about this. How many of you check your bank account more online than you do going into the bank itself? Me or not me? Okay. Me, everyone. If that's the case, who do you think's more important? The person that runs the website or the bank teller inside?
The website.
Does that make sense? Just think about that. Money doesn't shift, or money doesn't disappear, it shifts. Why do you think bank tellers are going extinct? And why do you think people pay? How much do you think, who do you think is worth more money? The website person or the bank teller? Who do you think earns a better paycheck? The bank teller or the website person? They're solving a bigger problem. Now, do you think it's more, do you think that you could, here's a good thing. Here's my last analogy for you, or last question. Do you think that you would be solving a bigger problem for Wells Fargo by helping the bank teller's back pain, or by helping the website developer be more efficient with the website? Which do you think Wells Fargo would value you more at? Again, we value wealth over health. I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense? I don't want to mean that it's like what we do isn't important. I just want you to see where money is shifting. Does that make sense? Possibly the web developer's back pain. Yeah.
Yeah, Rich, how to avoid defrauding your customers. Oh my goodness, let's talk about that. So it's just crazy. So if then we decide that more and more businesses are going to be going online, and that suddenly they're going to be thrust into needing to use these digital skills to get in front of people, then do you think that all of a sudden these business owners are just going to say, oh, I want to learn all this myself? Like, do you think that a school wants to go sit on YouTube and their principal is now going to say, hey, you know what? We're going to need a mobile responsive website because everyone's going onto their phones from to the school website. Do you think the principal is going to go sit on YouTube to learn videos to learn how to mobile optimize their website? Yes or no? Is the principal going to go learn how to do this?
Which is really funny because, by the way, even business owners who do know how to do all this, Alex and I, do we want to do it anymore? What do we do, Alex?
We hire it, and we'll talk about that. But like, we know how to do it all, and you get to a certain point in your business, and you realize your skill set as a business owner is not in doing the little technical things. Your skill set is as a business owner is being the visionary and bringing in the implementers who can implement the vision. If you want to work with smart business owners, you don't want to work with the ones who say that they're going to do it all. You want to work with the ones who value other people's expertise and know their lane, and they stay in their lane. So most business owners, they really don't want to have to focus on this stuff. I can tell you that because right now we're those business owners. We've hired 12 different people in the past 2 months to be able to take care of this stuff for us, and we know how to do it all. But we value our time over our money. And so we will hire somebody else to solve the technical problems that come up, even though we know how to solve them. So with that said, let's just, like we're 45 minutes into this. Who are we? Hello, we're Alex Engar and Will Boyd. Great to meet you guys. Hey, is this anyone's first time listening to us? Is this if this is your first time, just put first time in the comments. If this is the very first time you've ever heard of this. First time. Wow. Whoa. Oh my goodness.
Whoa.
Oh my goodness.
We should have. I didn't know we had so many.
I was just about to assume that y'all had been here in our store for a long time. Rose, Bailey, Cindy, Nathan, Sophia. Oh my, Cass. Okay, Cass is the second time. All right. So I guess we should tell y'all who we are. We didn't tell you this earlier. We won't spend a lot of time on this, but this is Will and I. So I'm the one, the guy that's currently talking right now. I'm the guy on the left there. I've got the little kids that were screaming in the background. They'll probably scream here because it's bedtime. And if you notice, we both had on these fancy outfits. This is everyone. By the way, Will Boyd on the right here. Everyone say hi, Will. Will's the one who put this entire thing together for us. And we show ourselves as fresh PT grads because we are fresh PT grads. So we're both doctors of physical therapy who graduated about 3 years ago. And yet, we are not treating patients. We are not solving health problems right now. We're actually solving wealth problems for people. We had kind of an interesting path here, wouldn't you say, Will? Like it isn't your traditional story necessarily at a PT school.
We had a weird, I can't believe there's so many people. It's your first time hearing us. This is actually really so cool. Okay. So here's my spiel in 2 minutes. I was in PT school. I went to my first clinical rotation, and I realized in my first clinical rotation, which by the way, at the point of my first clinical rotation, I was already about $40,000 in student loan debt at that point. Kind of hard to back out at that point. $40,000 in student loan debt at that point. I went to my first clinical rotation. I found the PT. I worked alongside a PT who I thought was one of the best I'd ever seen. I still to this day, even now what I know, thought was one of the best PTs I ever met. Realized, I asked him how much money he made. He said a figure that was much lower than I thought. And I said, how is that? You're the best that I've ever seen it. Like, you are amazing at what you do. All the patients that came in, they just wanted to see him. And he laid it on me. He said, man, I don't make money for being good. I just make money for seeing more people. Like, I get paid on time. Oh, and by the way, he was salaried, so he didn't even get paid for more time. He's literally said the only way I can make more money is if I just see enough people, I get a bonus, a fraction of that extra time that I spend. And I thought, wait, you don't get paid any better for how good you are? He said, no, I get paid more by what insurance tells me my rate is. Oh, by the way, but my boss actually then writes my paycheck and he determines what I get paid. And in that moment, I realized, whoa, how do I ever make more money? Oh, well, you got to be a director. Cool. What's a director? Well, you don't have to see patients very much, or you still see as many patients as you already do, and then you have to manage other people seeing patients. And I just sat there and was like, wait, so where's all the money? Well, it went to the owners. Why did the owners get it? They built a business. What built the business? They needed more customers, more patients. And it hit me in my head, and I was like, that's the secret. If you can figure out how to help this business get more patients, you can charge what you're worth, Will. So I went through the rest of PT school because I was already in it, and I was thinking, I'm going to own my own clinic. I'm going to do all this stuff, right? And I started asking my professors, and I got no answers. They were just teachers. All credit to them. They had one job to help me pass this board exam. And I was like, why are we sitting here talking about this board exam when like real life is going to hit? I'm going to have $150,000 of student loan debt, which is what I had. And I realized I was not getting any answers. And so I started a podcast. Technically, I started a blog, and then I realized I was really lazy. So then I shifted to a podcast called the Nobody's Podcast. I don't know if anyone has ever heard an episode of the Nobody's Podcast, but this was my beginning of a journey of trying to get answers. And in this journey, I learned that you could connect with people. And then if you can help people get attention onto what they do, you have an incredible, valuable asset. So I graduated PT school. We'll get into the whole story later. But that's kind of my beginning of finding my way out of just only PT. I had to figure something. I said, if I just do PT, I got to figure something else out because it's not going to help me pay back my $155,000 of student loan debt as fast as I want. Has anybody else ever felt that way? Have you ever seen so guys, I put the math together. When I graduated school on a 25-year fixed loan, 25 years fixed. So for some of you guys who don't know the loan stuff yet, bless you, I didn't either, and it took me a long time. 25 years fixed, meaning every single month for the next 25 years, I was going to have to pay $1,100 a month to pay back my student loan debt. That was the average in my program. Like, that was just average. That wasn't even high. $1,100 a month to in 25 years fixed. US dollars. You got it, right? So my brain goes, wait, I'm going to make $40 an hour, 60,000, maybe 70,000 a year right out of school. I got to figure out, I didn't quit. And I didn't say, woe is me. I had those moments, right? I had those feelings, woe is me. And I thought, I have to solve this problem. I have to go figure something else out. And that's what led to starting this podcast, which is now sparked. Because of that podcast, we've gone on to spark over 100 other podcasts being started, which have gone on to reach over 1 million people. If you've ever listened to the Pre-PT Grind podcast, if you've ever listened to the PT Hustle podcast with Kyle Rice, if you ever listened to Chanel Yoder's podcast, if you've ever listened to gosh, so many there. I'm trying to think of the other people. I don't know why I can't right now. You've probably heard a podcast that started from this one podcast because I wanted answers. Alex, that's my story. We want to hear yours.
I love it. How many of you felt like Will at some point? Just say me. If you started realizing that, oh my goodness, I'm going to be in a deep freaking hole. How many of you? Yeah, look at all these, Will. Dude, you're not alone. Absolutely not alone. And I came into PT school. I was actually going to be a physician. I wanted to be a neurosurgeon. I made the decision purely out of vanity because I thought, what is the most important job I could have that I would also have to use my brain? And it would be, I like complex things. I was like, I think I should be a neurosurgeon. And I remember I was like, I'm going to be a neurosurgeon. I went through undergrad and I did all my physician shadowing, took the MCAT twice. I was all ready to apply for med school. And a neighbor who was in med school told me, Alex, if you're not ready to dedicate 80 hours a week to this profession, you really might want to second guess why you're doing it. And that was the week that I found out we were pregnant with our first little kiddo, the little one in red there. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be a father, which is something that I take really, really seriously. I am not about to step into a profession that requires me to give away 80 hours of my week for the next 10 years plus and then be on call for the rest. I go, no way. So PT was actually like my backup plan. I looked at what can I do to like use all the credits that I had and still do something in healthcare and still be the doctor so I could sort of have those letters after my name and satisfy my vanity. And so I chose PT. I got into PT school. And about a year into PT school, I started realizing I'm not going to be able to live the life that I really want if I continue down this path. I started looking at what do PTs actually make. In Utah, like a good starting salary is $60,000. And I started realizing, $60,000, take out taxes. I want to bring my wife home so she doesn't have to work if she doesn't want to. Paying for a house, paying for how am I ever going to retire, stop working? How is that going to happen? And I set this goal for myself. And I don't know why. I got to dig into this and do some journaling. But I set this goal that I said, I want to be able to stop working, AKA retire, or at least step back from full-time work if I wanted to by age 40. And I set it as a goal. I said, I'm going to retire by age 40. Now, anyone else here in the FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early, just put FIRE in the comments if that has crossed your mind. I want to be financially independent. FIRE, right? I was super early on in that. And I saw the number. And the number that I needed to hit was $3.5 million. And I was like, are you kidding me? How am I going to do that making $60,000 a year? I got to start learning some other skills. And I realized what really, really, it pulled my heart out, guys, was that working as a healthcare provider in a clinic was capped. I had a very hard cap on what I could earn. If I were the top of the game, top of the game, I could be earning 100,000, 120, maybe in PT. And my heart started sinking when I looked at what are my priorities? Yes, my priorities are to help people, but I want to be able to be present for my kids. I want to be able to form memories with them that are going to last forever. I want to be able to be home in the middle of the day with my kids. I want to teach them to read. I want to be able to teach them sports. I want to be a present dad. And there was no way that was going to happen for me if I walked down the standard career path that everyone else did. And so that's why I started this podcast on the left. It's called the Habit Hacked Podcast. And I realized if I could start changing my habits and my mentality, I might just be able to make something work outside of the norm. And so I started deep diving on it. I started interviewing people about it. This was like my journal that I was sharing with people. And the funny thing is, Will and I both found each other because we started looking online at who is doing things different. We actually found a guy named Greg Todd. A lot of you know Greg Todd. Shout out to this man who has done so much for us. But we realized that we both had walked a different path. And when I actually interviewed Will on my podcast, he was my very first guest, 3rd episode in, Will Boyd. I was like, dude, this guy's amazing. And we started talking and we realized we both had an interest in doing things differently. Has anyone here ever felt like there's this pull inside of you to do things differently? Have you ever felt that pull of, I see everyone else sort of like marching in their line, and I'm like, I don't want to march in that line. Like, I don't want to go down the same path that everyone else is going down. Because I don't know about you, but if you start looking at the stats of like how people are living, and most people don't have like $1,000 for if an emergency happened, and most people end up retiring with way less than they need. And it's like, I don't want to, why would I walk down the path that everyone else is walking down if they don't have the end result that I want? If the end result that's common is I don't have money, I get divorced, I don't get to see my kids, and I end up miserable. I don't want that. So I started looking at, I have to live differently if I'm going to achieve something different than status quo. And so Will and I started learning skills that were outside of the norm. And if you were to talk to people 3 years ago that knew me, and if I were to have told them, hey, I'm a doctor of physical therapy, but I'm editing videos for a living. And it wasn't much of a living. I'll tell you, early on, when I had no clue what I was doing, and I was just getting into it, I was scraping by with some money, thank goodness, but I was a doctor of physical therapy editing videos because I had different priorities than everyone else around me. Now, I don't expect everyone to suddenly say, I'm going to drop out of PT school, or I'm going to stop practicing completely, or I'm going to make a total 180 shift. I'm not saying that at all. That just happened to be my path. What we're saying is there's a different way of doing things. You can learn different skills. You can set yourself up for a life that you actually want instead of a life that everyone expects you to get handed. And the next few slides are going to show you, here is the formula for how we got started. That's our story. Definitely not a line marcher.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think one thing that we should add in here is, so how are we at where we're at now? We didn't even add this into the
Yeah, we did.
presentation. So you might be like, why should I listen to these guys, especially if this is the first time? So what we did is we started out with creating our own podcast. We started doing the thing. We didn't even know, we had no idea to lead this to skills, right? And what happened was, after 2 months or 3 months of interviewing people, I actually interviewed a prosthetics company. And I wanted to share a story of what the relationship was like between the prosthetist, and the amputee. We sat down and they said, this was awesome. We want to start our own podcast. How much does it cost to hire you to do that for us? And I just remember sitting there like, you mean money? They're like, yeah, like, wouldn't you charge someone to do this? And I was like, I don't know. I just do this for fun. They're like, oh, it seems really tough. Like, we've looked into this before. We almost hired a company for like $4,000 to do this. I was like, well, I could do it way cheaper than that. And they're like, yeah, we like you. And I didn't even know I was going to ask for $40 to help them set this podcast up. And I talked with, luckily we know Greg Todd, GT, he was my mentor at the time, and said, you got to charge at least $100 an hour. And I chickened out and I asked for 75, and I knew it was going to take me 6 hours, but I freaked out. And so I said, I'll do it for $300 a month. They said, that sounds great. And I did the math. It took me 6 hours at $300 a month. That was, $50 an hour. I did the math. That was more than the PT per hour was making at my first clinical rotation. He was making $40 an hour. And in that moment, I thought, whoa, I don't have a license in this. I don't have a degree in this. I don't have a certification. I've just been doing this thing for 2.5 months, but other people find it really valuable. Oh, and by the way, a few months later, they said, hey, we want to make a website for this podcast. Do you know anyone who does it? I said, well, I made a website for my podcast. They said, great. How much do you want to make our website? Again, money? They're like, yeah. Don't you charge to do it? I said, well, I could just do the same thing I did. They said, how about $500? From that one company, one relationship, just doing the thing I was doing, that next 12 months from them, I made over $4,000. How many of you would like to spend, 6 hours a month for 12 months to make $5,000. That's like an hour a week to make $5,000 more this year. That was essentially what it came out to. And then it happened again. I had more people because I was doing the thing. I was dabbling in it and said, yeah. And then this company said, hey, we want to get the word out more. You seem to know how to use Facebook to promote your podcast. Like, get the word out. I was like, you mean posting on Facebook? They were like, yeah. I was like, okay, but that's literally what I do, is post on Facebook. And they're like, okay, well, what do you do? I was like, well, actually, I use Twitter to go find guests for my podcast, and I build relationships with them. They're like, yes, can we pay you to help with that? And I was like, what? This is crazy. So then that got me realizing, wow, if I can just help, we're going to dive into the keys here, but if I can help them just get more eyeballs on their business. They had a budget because they were a business, and they needed to spend the money to get more attention on their business. That started the process of, now for me, I run a business where I do marketing and advertising as well on the side, but on the side from what Alex and I do. And Alex, I'll let Alex tell his story, but just so you know, in the last 2 years, this is not to say anything of like, look at us, but in the last 2 years, we've made over $400,000 doing simple digital skills and coaching people through simple digital skills.
Yep. Dude, actually we passed, I think we're getting close to the 600 mark, which is wild to me.
I lied.
It's just totally wild. So here's the thing.
No, I don't, first off, I don't want to end there with that. I don't say that of like, look at us. I'm saying that there is no way that I could have made that amount of money being a physical therapist alone. And I love being a PT, and I love having people in healthcare. And I love it. There's still days where I think like, I would love to go treat, but the cool thing is I have the option and the choice to go do that if I want to now. Because I learned these very specific skills that we're going to talk about. Everything that we have built our business off of. By the way, most of that is profit, which is amazing if you are in business, which has been wild, because a lot of these things are so simple to learn. And if you just follow the process, it's insane what can happen. And you're going to see some of our students and what they've done. But I say that to tell you that if I had just kept believing I had one skill to offer, and that was physical therapy, the only way I could have ever made the same amount of money is working more and more and more hours. How many of you want to work more hours to make more money? Or how many of you would rather work less hours to make more money? Because that is the path that most of us are going down. And I say this because, by the way, Alex and I didn't know any of these skills 4 years ago. Any of it. I just want to finish with that. It wasn't to tell you the numbers to be like, wow, look at Will and Alex. To show you that if you just learn a few specific skills and you learn where to apply those skills, remember, businesses, not individuals, you can go on to create so much more wealth in your life, which, by the way, with that wealth, we're able to give back to so many more people and help them with our time. So I just want to leave it there. I didn't want it to be like, wow, look at us. Like, if you know Alex, I know a lot of you is first time, so we don't usually talk about numbers or things like that. But I need you to physically understand and see the tangible outcome. What's possible if you shift where you put your energy into solving problems at least some of the time. Does that make sense? I just would really love to know, does that make sense? I hope I'm not offending anyone by going there talking about this. I just want to be really raw and transparent, because this is the stuff that used to scare the crap out of me. Being this vulnerable and honest about money still makes me uncomfortable, but I want you to see this so you can change your life if you need to and if you want to. Alex and I are never going to sit here and go, you have to do this, or you're no, this is if you want to. And honestly, I don't think you would be here on this training. Like, no one signs up for how to start a work from home side hustle if they're just like, no, I'm good. No, you just wouldn't do it, right? It wouldn't make sense. So Alex, I want to toss it over to you. I didn't want to stop there with the money number and not explain the reason why.
Totally good. All right, we want to dive into, here's the actual flow. This is where I want you to pull out an actual paper, an actual pencil, and write this down. I was on another live training today from someone else that I respect, and he asked me to do this, and I was like, this is stupid. They always ask me to do this. I was like, no, I'm going to listen. I'm going to shut down all my tabs, and I'm actually going to do it. And I will tell you, I got the one nugget that I really needed to for my business during that. And if I hadn't been listening, and if I had been browsing Facebook, and if I had been looking at email, and if I had been not willing to write something down, I would not have gotten that nugget. Or if I had, it would have been lost. So I really want to encourage you. This is the part where it's serious. Take notes. Pull out something to physically take notes on. You are more likely to remember it if you physically write it down versus typing it. I don't care if it's on a sticky note. I want you to take notes right now and think about with where you're at and what you're now starting to realize is possible. What do you need to do next as a result? Okay. Maybe you've never ever thought of that about this before. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming. I want to take all notes. Okay, cool. Take all the notes. We will send the replay of this out, by the way. Maybe you are already side hustling and you got your first few clients and you're like, I need to grow. What am I not doing? I want you to look at this. I want you to start thinking, what is that nugget of inspiration that I need today to take away from this? And then I want you to write it down. I'm going to invite you to share it at the end of this with us as an accountability piece. Okay. Write something down and you're going to share it at the end with us because this is why you're here. Okay. Use this time wisely to get the inspiration that you need to actually act on it. Deal? If you're okay with that, just say deal. If you're willing to take notes and actually listen to what you feel like you need right now, just put deal in the comments. Deal, deal, deal. Everyone, let's do it. Awesome. Beautiful. Let's go. This is the path to learning, number 1, mastering, number 2, and then number 3, getting paid for digital skills online. Okay, this is what we stumbled into for ourselves and then realized that it was a pattern. And then we started teaching that pattern to a couple people. And we said, okay, let's go see if we teach them the pattern, can they do it? And they did it. And it kept happening, and it kept happening, and it kept happening. So I want you to remember, what is it that businesses pay for? How do we actually solve wealth problems for them? Well, let's talk about this because it gets really complex if we want it to be, or it can be as simple as this.
Absolutely. The big thing is you want to know before every skill that we're about to teach you helps with one of these 3 problems. And that's what you need to understand, what you're actually solving for people. Every single business needs attention on their business. I want to ask you, how did you hear about this training tonight, by the way? How did you hear about this training? I would love to know. How did you hear about this training? Physio Memes, Andrew Tran, GT, Facebook, Will, Physio Memes, PreVT Grind, email, Greg Todd, email. I think you're FB, email this, Greg, GT, AT, Kara, Alana. Man, just so many.
Look at all these women. Okay. Oh my goodness.
So here's what I'd ask. If we didn't tell all those people that we were going to have this training, if we didn't send out emails that we were going to have this training, if we didn't put up posts on Facebook that we were going to have this training, if we didn't send out a messenger bot saying we were going to have this training, how many of you guys would be here right now? You have to have attention on your business. And most people are so afraid to ask for attention on their business. And a lot of these things that what you're going to do is you're going to help businesses get more attention and eyeballs on them. And then Alex, we've got these things called leads and sales, which are like, I think people understand sales, but leads like, what is that?
Leads is when somebody kind of raises their hand and says, hey, I might be kind of interested in this. A lead is somebody who might go onto a website and fill out a form and say, hey, yeah, I want your newsletter, or yeah, send me that cool free thing. A lead is somebody raising their hand and saying, I might be interested in this. Okay, so first we get attention. We put something out there. We put content out there. That's one skill. Another skill is being able to collect leads for that business. And yet another skill is actually being able to make a sale, okay? What we're going to talk about tonight is primarily how do we help business get attention and get leads so that they can make the sales. We're going to talk about the skill sets that you want to be focused on first.
Real quick, to better understand leads for you guys. Sorry, Alex. To better understand leads, what is it that every business needs more of besides attention? Every business in the world, including the programs that you're at, including the clinics that you work at, including the anything on earth. What do businesses need more of besides attention? I'll give you a hint. It starts with C-U-S-T. It starts with C-U-S-T.
And it's not custard, because that's not how you spell it.
Not custard. Although they might appreciate custard. You guys are super smart. You're on it. Customers. By the way, your PT school doesn't exist without customers, AKA students. Your teachers aren't going to keep showing up if there aren't paying customers, AKA students. By the way, your PT clinic, as we know, will stop if you don't have more customers. The interesting thing, even a hospital, I experienced this in my full-time home health job. We had 2 nurses that did 2 wounds incorrectly. The state health department came twice, and the second time they came down hard, and they said all of your nurses have to be retrained. Well, if you know anything about home health, they all had to do the start of cares, which means you can only see a patient after a nurse has opened the case. Well, if all your nurses are in training, what happens? Your customers go somewhere else, even in a hospital. So guess what happened to my time? I went from almost making $5,000 a month as a home health PT, and I was getting paid per visit down to less than $2,000 a month as a full-time physical therapist. And I thought I was going to work for one of the safest companies out there, a home health hospital company. They all need more customers. That's what you want to think of as a lead, helping people get more customers. Cool. Let's dive into this.
All right. So let's start at 1. I want you to look at this list, because this is the list as Will and I have looked at. What are the high value skills that we learned, that we've been able to sell to create at first side hustle income? And then we took these skills and now they actually form the core of what is our marketing business, in order to be able to help people get attention, find customers, AKA get leads, and ultimately make sales. The very first step, and I think that this is so important, is to let yourself be in exploration mode as you're looking at what should my side hustle be. It's really interesting. There's a guy named, now I'm going to forget his name. Dave, totally forgot it. It'll come back to me. There's a guy who's Brian Tracy. That's his name. Brian Tracy, who is a motivational speaker. And he talks about how do you, like, going through your career. And the very first part of your career is all about this exploration phase where you're kind of trying to figure out what it is. How many of you felt like you were in, how many of you feel like you're still in exploration phase in your life? Just put explore down below. If you've been exploring and you're still kind of like in that, I don't really know what I'm doing yet, and I'm still kind of exploring. Yeah, look at everyone. Look, I still feel like I finally feel like I'm coming out of this explore mode. It's really interesting to sort of like find your groove and just start going into it. We'll always be exploring, right? But first and foremost, just start looking at what are the different things that you can do and what's it like doing them. I had no clue that I would fall in love with video editing. I love it. Like I used to love video games. I like editing videos more than I like video games. It's so fun to me. Like I can go so long editing videos and I just love it. I had no clue. Website building, totally not my jam. Not my jam. It's Will's jam. It's other people's jam. It's not mine. Email marketing, also probably not my jam. I can do it. I actually feel like I'm pretty solid at it. Pretty darn solid. But I don't love sitting down to write emails. If it's quiet around, I could totally do that. Podcast editing, oh my goodness, I love that. Google ads, I've dabbled a little bit. Facebook ads, I've done plenty of it. But like I found my passion in this creative side of video editing that I never would have known. The first step, I feel like, in this whole flow is start to explore the different skills. Test them out for yourself. I highly recommend, and how we have our students do it, is I recommend having a specific project for you to work on. The way we do it in our program that we'll show you at the end of this is we actually chain them all together and have you go start to finish. First build a website, then build an email on the back of it, then edit a video, then create a podcast. Actually flip that. First create the podcast, then edit a video for it. Then you run ads to it like that. That's how we have the flow. But I really highly suggest that you start looking at what are these different skills and try them out. Get a little bit of experience in each of them to see which ones do I really love. Because I can tell you, you're going to be far more successful if you actually enjoy doing the thing. And you never know what it is that you're going to just absolutely love. Will, when you were starting off, were there any of these that you had lots of experience with, like 3.5, 4 years ago?
I had zero experience with any of them. I mean, Alex, I will tell you, we hated Facebook. I don't even open emails. So if you email me, there's a really good chance, unless it's like from our financial person, I don't even open emails, which is probably why we sent out the wrong link, because I don't even know how to, I don't even use email that much anymore. But for me, it was podcasting. It was the first thing I did, and I loved it. and I absolutely loved it. And then I realized, wait, I got to put these podcast episodes somewhere besides just the one place they existed. I need to make a website. And I spent, no joke, 40 hours over 3 weekends, 40 hours over 3 weekends learning how to make a website. And man, was I like, this is terrible. But at the end of it, I was like, wow, I see why this is a valuable skill. It's a super, super valuable skill. And what's really cool, Alex, is even if you don't know any of these, like, or let's say you're not a master at all of these, you know right now that if you went broke, you could pick up one of these and go start making money tomorrow. Yes or no? Even the least one you're competent in, let's say Google Ads, for example. You could go pick that up and start doing this in a week to go start talking to businesses and say, I could help them.
I'm really curious. Those of you who are on here right now, which by the way, oh my goodness, there's still there's 116 of you. Which one of these right now sounds the most fun to you to learn? As you're looking at this list, which one sounds the most fun? I'm actually really curious. Video editing, website, Google, Facebook ads, video editing, website building, video editing, website. They all do video, podcast editing. Make YouTube videos already. Ruben, that's awesome. Video editing ones. Like the creativity of it, it's so cool. I can't tell you, like I used to think it was this magical, mystical thing that I had no clue how it worked. And then I started learning and it was like, oh, wait a minute. You just move this here and then you do this here. And then, oh, it's like, that's how you make that. I had no clue. Like I love figuring out these things that I had no clue what was going on before. And then you do, it's like, that's cool. And it's actually not that hard. Like none of these are inherently hard. You just haven't done them before. They're not, I can promise you, they're not inherently hard. They're just new and different. And then you start learning the patterns for them all. There's a pattern for video editing. There's a pattern for podcast editing. There is definitely a pattern for building websites. There is even a pattern for writing emails that get people to act. And you better believe there's a pattern for Facebook and Google Ads. There's a pattern in all of these. And the key is explore them just enough to start seeing the patterns. Once you learn the patterns, you start getting good enough to do it. Then you get, well, I'm jumping ahead. But like, do you guys see how this happens? Like you start exploring, you start testing it out, and then you find the patterns. And then we move to just actually practicing it. And this is where we say you should really find your own project to be doing this on. If you start to work with us in our program, we will say you need to create your own project, start to finish with this. We actually tie it all together really nicely, like I said. You just start getting practice. And the great thing is you get to be in exploration mode still, where it's not like you have to be, you're not the world's foremost leading expert on any of this, but we just start practicing and having fun with it. And isn't it interesting that this is also what happens in physical therapy school, for example? Now, I know not all of you are physical therapists. Sorry, I use that a lot because we are, and I know that a lot of you on here are. But isn't it interesting how you start exploring, even in your career, this is how they do it, if you really look at it. They say, hey, we're going to show you everything. We're going to show you cardiopulm. We're going to show you neuro. We're going to teach you peds. We're going to show you this. We're going to show you that. We're going to learn a little bit about it. And then you're going to go out and actually try it. Actually, first, before you even try it in the clinic, do they just say, here, we teach it to you? Well, if they teach it to you. All right, let's not get into that conversation. But they teach it to you in class. And then who is the very first person that you practiced on? Like, was there somebody that they had you practice on in school, or did they just say, here's what it is, go read it on the slides, and then go do it in the clinic? Classmates, parents, says Katrina, right? Other students. I practiced so much on my kids with all the ped stuff. They bring them, here, little kid, try these stretches, right? They have you practice in a safe place where it's like, it's okay, you're not going to kill the person, and you just, let's just try it and see what it's like. And we have some fun with it. Right? That's what we recommend that you do with these skills. We don't recommend that you pop up, watch a YouTube video, and then go try and sell yourself to the world. Like, no, it's also a little bit irresponsible, I feel like. So we have people practice. Will, how did you end up practicing for yourself when you were first starting all these?
Yeah, my story again was my podcast. I just started, I learned how to start doing my podcast just by endless hours of like reading and learning and trying to figure out what I needed to do to start a podcast. And so I would just do my podcast for myself. And it was really became this tool for myself. And then I was like, I feel like I should have a website. I probably didn't even need to have one, but I was like, I should have a website. And so I learned how to make a website for it. And then I was like, wait, we need video promos for the podcast. How do I do that? So then I asked Alex, I was like, you got to use Camtasia. I was like, what is this? Okay, I learned this skill of like how to use video editing and do all this stuff. I just kept practicing on myself, and then people noticed. And a really, really cool story is how we found our podcast editor and YouTube creator, Gail Gallio, who's in here, who's a pre-physical. She was doing her own YouTube channel. And I don't even remember, I think she posted on Facebook and it caught my eye. And I was like, whoa, I really like that intro that she did. And then a thumbnail and an intro, things that some of you guys would be like, duh, it's easy, right? For me though, I was like, that looks so cool. How do they make it so like, how did she make it so cool? And like cool intro. And I said, Alex, like, dude, we should have this for our business. And Alex took all of 3 seconds to go, okay, yeah, we should. And I reached out to Gail and I said, Gail, could you do this for us? And she said, yeah. But she was doing it for herself. She was doing her own YouTube channel. It caught my eye and was like, whoa, I want that for my business. Now, me as a person, I probably wouldn't have been like, hey, I need you to do this for my personal YouTube channel. Like it just wouldn't have been a thing. But my business, yes, our business needs it. We need attention on our business. And I saw someone using her skill that she was practicing on herself. And I said, that skill that you're practicing is better than I can do. And I don't want to take the time to learn all the things to do that, how you did it, because guess what? It's not even all that complicated, but my perception was that it is, right? My perception was that it must be, so therefore I valued it. Does that make sense? Does that make sense that you need to explore and then practice on your own? You have to explore and then practice on your own. We're big believers in giving you a strict project for yourself. We actually help you build your own personal brand in our project is what we do, which is really, really cool. How do you build your personal brand through it? Okay, makes sense. Good. Make sure we're on the same page.
Beautiful. How many of you have had an idea that maybe it's been over the past few months, maybe over the past couple of years of like, man, I'd really like to build something like this out, just like a kind of a pet project, like something that you're like, I'd really like to get this out there. Maybe it's like, I'd like to build a blog around something or a website or a podcast or a YouTube channel. How many of you have had a project lately? I would love to know what's the project around? Like, is it like tying balloon animals? Is it like helping people? Maybe it's helping people with their websites. Like what's your project that you've had in mind? I'd love for you to just put it in the chat.
Wait, can you say that one again? What was it? Tie balloon
animals? Okay. All right.
I thought I heard it differently. Like you were tying something around balloon. I got you tying up.
No, yeah. My daughter and I are focused right now on balloon animals. I used to do like magic tricks and stuff, and I used to know how to tie balloon animals. And I just bought like 250 balloons on Amazon and a balloon like animal tying course. To my daughter and I are gonna hashtag coronavirus animals. We're gonna sit here at home and socially distance from everyone else and learn balloon animals along the way. So that one's been on my mind.
No, I loved it. At first I was like, wait, tying around balloon, but it's blowing up air. It's blowing balloons and tying.
Yeah. Okay. Wait, we got a lot of cool ones in writing more blogs, developing exercise segments for the elderly, content for website, educational project for pre-PTs, my home chef resource for making healthy and tasty food out of your kitchen. Currently, music theory online is my project. Yes, balloon animals, brain health, right? It's super good for you. Carissa's all over it. She's the PEDS therapist comes in and tells me I'm good, right? Like, can I bill for that? Is that like a business expense? Idea for YouTube, helping OTs solve difficult problems. Look at all these ideas you have. This is what we help you do in this program is, number one, build it out for yourself first so that you have practice. And then number two, get confidence. Sorry, number three, I know how to count. Get confidence by helping someone else. I recommend this super simple script. And I recommend that you get confidence by helping someone else for free or maybe really cheap. But it's easiest to just get started for free and get the confidence under your belt that you can do it. So I might use something like this. Feel free to screenshot this, write it down. It's not that complicated, but this is how I would do it. If I had a skill of, let's say, I don't know, I like tying balloon animals, and I was like, I'm going to make a YouTube channel about tying balloon animals. So I'm going to learn some video editing. I'm going to make my little website about it. It's going to be balloonsbyalex.com, and nobody go buy that domain name from me. Don't you dare. But I want to create this website, and I start editing videos for a YouTube channel. And then I'm like, okay, how do I start editing somebody else's YouTube videos? Well, then I just go look at which of my friends, hey, anyone have YouTube? And the people, they go drop their links, and I go look at their channels, and I just reach out to one of them. And all I say is this: hey, what's up, Will? I've been learning a lot about YouTube, about editing videos lately for my channel. And I'm wondering if you have any video editing projects I could help you with for free in your business this month. Like, how many of you, if someone came to you honestly asking that, would feel good about like, oh yeah, I would love someone to do that for me? Do you think that if you were a business owner in this situation and somebody came to you asking that, would you look down on them, or would you be like, oh, that's cool? Put that's cool in the comments if you would think that somebody approaching you like that would be cool. Or would you be like, oh, what an idiot. Like, how would you honestly react? I would think it's pretty darn cool.
Help me. Gosh.
Oh, jeez. What a noob. Like, no. No, you just be upfront about it. Be honest. Say, hey, I have been learning this lately. I have the YouTube channel myself. I've been editing videos. I'm just wondering if you have any projects I can help you with for free in your business. Cool. If we get one, maybe two of these under our belt, and we just start getting confidence. Do you know how much your life changes when you get confident in yourself? Do you know how much easier it is to actually ask for money once you are confident about something? When you have actually gotten results for someone, done something to help them, it becomes so much easier. So why do we make this so hard on ourselves? Can't we just help one person for free? And we get them results, and all of a sudden we have a case study. And it can happen in a matter of weeks. It's not that hard. We tell you this because this is exactly what we did. When I was first starting, I was learning video editing. And what I did, I had this podcast, right? I had the Habit Hacked podcast. I was editing all these videos. And it was so funny. I figured out that there's this really easy way to create video intros. There's a really easy way. You know when you watch YouTube videos and they have that little intro? Well, I see that now, and I'm like, oh, I know exactly the website where they made that on. It's like you snap your fingers and it's done. Well, I figured out this easy way to do it, but I also learned how to really customize them. And I used all this fancy software and stuff. And it took me like an hour to put one together. Well, someone was like, oh, that's so cool. Wow, how'd you do that? And I was like, oh, I just kind of figured it out. Like, oh, can you do one? I was like, yeah, man, I'll totally do one. And I did one for someone as a friend. And I made it. I made the tweaks. And then they posted it. We're like, hey, look how cool. I have this new intro that Alex helped me with. And then somebody else came to me and said, Alex, I want to hire you to do that. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I just got confidence. I got somebody else a result. And then somebody came to me asking to pay. And I remember, I think I charged him. It was not very much. It was definitely under $100. It's probably like $40 or something. And I remember sitting there at night while I was watching a football game with my family, editing this video. I should pull it up, actually. I have the photo. And I took a photo of myself while I was sitting there watching the football game. And I made $40 watching football, editing this simple little video intro for someone. I think they still use it to this day. I got to go look at their videos. It's been 3 years. I think they still use it. But I could only ask for that money. That was literally one of the first times I made money doing this. I literally did it only because I got the confidence that I could do it for myself, and then I could do it for somebody else. And they were kind enough to post it on their profile. And do you know how good that made me feel? That like, wow, somebody actually posted something that I made and they were proud to show it off. Oh, confidence galore, y'all. Y'all need some confidence. If you're scared to sell right now, we just got to get you some confidence, baby. Man. All right. Like that. I say that not of like, oh, I'm so amazing at video editing. I'm not. I'm really not. David Cardelano's way better. This is why we pay David for videos now. But I just was a little bit better than that business owner at it. I figured out the skill. I practiced it on myself. And then I went and got confidence by teaching someone, by doing it for someone else. All right. Anything else here, Will, before we move to the last one?
No, it was perfect.
Boom. All right. Number 4. Y'all ready for this? Number 4 is, how do we get our first paid client? I look at it in 4 steps. Sorry, do you guys see how we're very linear in how we think? It's very much like, what do you do first? Then what do you do next? Then what do you do next? I want you to see the big picture of how this actually happens. How do you get a new client? How do you learn the skill? How do you get a client to practice on? And then how do you get a paid client? Number 1 is we identify. We have to see, who do I know in my network that owns a business that has this problem? And if I don't have a network yet, we talked about how to grow that, but we think about, honestly, right now, I am sure, who can think right now of someone that they know that owns a business? Maybe it's an uncle, maybe it's a neighbor, maybe it's a business you go to. Do you know someone who owns a business? Yes or no? Put it in the comments right now. Can you, off the top of your head, can you think of someone who owns a business? Please, please, please don't you dare tell me no. Good. Oh, look at y'all. Okay, y'all are awesome. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, we all know people who own a business. Next, we reach out to them. Ooh, Will, isn't this scary? Isn't this the scariest thing to outreach to someone? How could you do that? Will, how did you get up the guts to reach out to someone?
Yeah.
Sorry, I put you right on the spot. Early on though, like when you were first reaching out to businesses, how did that go for you, man?
Yeah, they typically wouldn't respond very well, like, or they weren't as open, but I just knew I had to do it. And what I learned over time was there's a really specific way to reach out to them. That's really helpful. I teach you. And that's actually who here knows how to use Google? Like, no joke. Like, how many people actually know how to use Google and type into Google, business and your town name? Like, no joke. Do you know how to type in business and your town name? So like business, Alexandria, Virginia, where I'm at. Yes, yes, haha, yes, yes. We're all laughing, right? Okay, legitimately, here's the best way to do it. So instead of just, I think I could manage it. So
Jeff, thank you, man.
What I would do, right, is I literally type that in, and then I start looking at the businesses there, and I would just click on them. And sure enough, one would have an awful website. And I would make them a recorded video just like this on Zoom. And I would say, hey, I just want to let you know, I noticed these things about your website. I noticed A thing, B thing, C thing. Oh, and by the way, my recommendations would be these things. Oh, and here's a sample of some of the websites that I've made. In case you guys are looking to upgrade your website, here's my number to call me if you need. Now, is that more scary or less scary than just, hey, do you want to hire me? Is that more scary or less scary to make a video? I know what you're thinking, that's not going to take a ton of time. It could, but it also gives you a reason to reach out. You're identifying businesses who probably need help. And you're offering to solve a problem that they've already paid money for. They've already paid someone to make a website once. They're more likely to pay for a website again, contrary to someone paying for brand new, right? And you would be amazed. I know some of you are younger and think, well, our website should be nice and normal now. You would be amazed. I promise you, type business, your small town, or your town, whatever. Go through businesses. I promise you, especially go to second, third page, you will find a ton that look like they were still built in 1999. And that's how I outreach. I make a small video, a short video, and I offer a quick piece of advice. It takes me 4 minutes to do. And that's how I outreach to people.
So for that point, we at least get the conversation going. And to be honest, all of my clients at first, all of them came from within my network. Came from within friendships that I had already had, people who knew me on Facebook. I was starting to send some friend requests to a couple people who were business owners, and I just got to know them. All of my initial clients came from my friends list. You would be amazed. I used to think, how many of you would be scared right now? Just honestly, how many of you would be scared to ask a friend to pay you? I want you to just answer. Would you be scared to ask a friend to pay you? Yeah. Yes, 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 yes. Yep, scared, kind of. Yes, yes, yes. I will tell you, I was petrified, and I actually thought it was improper to ask friends to pay me. And it's not like I'm going up to someone like, hey, do you want to pay me to do video editing? Like, no. But what I didn't realize is that people actually really enjoy paying people they like. They would rather pay someone they know, like, and trust than pay some Joe Schmo out the door that they've never met, who's never given them any value before. And so I actually realized my friends like paying me for the services that I can give them. Do you know how much I love paying people that I know to help us with stuff? Do you know how much I loved paying David 2 weeks ago to edit a video for us? That was so fulfilling to me. I loved that. Do you know how much I love paying Gail every month to do our podcasts and our YouTube for us? Like, it's so fulfilling. I love it. People who own businesses that you know would love to pay you if you can help them. And it's not that we have to be salesy and scammy. It's changing our mindset to people would enjoy paying me. Try that on for a minute. Try that on for just a minute. Think, could I believe that people I know might actually want to pay me and enjoy it? I can promise you that they would. And that's a mindset shift that was so big for me early on that I didn't get. And so we make a proposal. And it's not some fancy, big old fancy schmancy. No, just say, yeah, I could definitely help you with that. Great. I usually charge $300 for this or whatever, or they tell you how much they're going to pay you. But there's some proposal there of, here's how much I'm going to pay you. This is what I'm going to give you. And then usually you get paid and then you deliver the thing, or sometimes you get paid after you deliver it based off the mechanics of it all. But this is how we get our first paid client. We identify who in our circles is already a business owner that we might be able to help. Who out there has a really crappy something that I could go make a little bit less crappy, whether that's a website, maybe it's video editing that they need, maybe it's Facebook ads because they have none, maybe it's their email sequence. And it's like, wow, that's non-existent. They don't even send any emails when you opt into their newsletter. Huh, interesting. Hey, I noticed that you don't generally send emails out to the people who join your newsletter. I write emails for businesses who are looking to make great relationships with the people who join their newsletters. Blah, 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 blah. And then we propose and then we deliver, okay? It's really, we keep it simple, y'all. Keep it a lot simpler than you think. Does it require work? No, you just get to sit back on the beach on your computer and people flock to you and ask to pay you money. Like that's the laptop lifestyle, y'all. It's just so easy. It just flows to you. Heck no, y'all, this is work. Everything is work. But is it better work than the alternatives? So many times. Oh my goodness, yes. How many of you would be willing, honestly, right now, how many of you would be willing to go through this process of learning, of testing it on yourself, of doing it for free for someone in order to be able to get paid? If you would, just put, I'm willing. Would you be willing to do that work in order to get the kind of benefits that we talked about at the beginning, the high dollar skill, the ability to create income from your home? How many of you are willing to put in the work in order to get the outcome that you say you all want? I'm willing, I'm willing, I'm willing, me. Beautiful. As long as you're willing to do it, I can promise you that you can learn this. You can figure it out. You can get results for yourself. You can find someone to help for free, and you can find someone to pay you. And that's exactly what Jordan Mather did. We're going to show you some people who have actually done this. Jordan Mather's amazing. He's just such a solid dude. And what he does is he makes websites and runs Google ads for local businesses. And wouldn't you know it, Jordan reached out to a school, and the school said, hey, we need a website built. Now, Jordan had started doing this for people. He started building websites. He started building websites for businesses that he had kind of started in college, actually, and even a little bit before. He had started doing it, and he got comfortable with it. Got to the point where I think it was it July of last year, somebody asked him to build a website and offered him $10,000 for it. Didn't just offer it, paid him $10,000 to make a website for a private school. Like, what? $10,000 for a website? Yes. For the right business, for the right individual, that's a total no-brainer for them. Now, is that a lot of work? You talk to Jordan about it. Heck yeah, it's a lot of work. But how many of you would love to be able to create $10,000 for yourself just by creating a website for someone? Like, what is that work that you would be willing to do for $10,000? Yes or no? Like, if you could get comfortable creating the website, would you be willing to do that for $10,000? Yeah, right? Now, is somebody always going to pay you $10,000? Heck no. But there are businesses out there who are. And when you get started, then you get to the point where you start getting a little more confidence where you can ask for bigger numbers like this. I know, Will. Anything else on Jordan? I just think this guy's such a stud, and that just inspired the heck out of me when he told me that.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Jordan doesn't have a degree in website design. Jordan doesn't have a degree in Facebook ad design. Jordan doesn't have a degree in Google ad design. He learned it just the way that we teach it. And by the way, Jordan and his business partner, Max, now have a multi-six-figure business running Google ads, Facebook ads, and making websites for businesses. Digital skills. That's it.
Yep. Oh my goodness. Shout out to David Carolano. David, are you still on here? Who here knows David? Just say I do if you know David.
David
This
Carolano
man
knows that guy.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Look at this. Oh, everyone knows you, David. Everyone knows you. David is the man. All right, David, this dude is, first of all, like, David's like a lion, man. This dude sees what he wants and he goes after it. David sells video editing and podcast editing 2 businesses, among other things. But those are his core. He's so good at it. I still remember the very first time that I learned that David edited videos. I was told him this the other day. David edited a little video. He said that he just like literally whipped it up. By his admission, he said it was really bad. I saw it and I was like, oh, dude edits videos. Had no clue, right? He helped me become aware. He had a little project for himself that he put out there. It's like, that's really cool. Then he started helping some other people. I know that he did some for free too. I know he did some stuff for free. Well, guess what? David helped someone with a video for their course. And he made an amazing testimonial video, actually for JoJo and Corey. I know, Corey, I saw you on here earlier. And I was like, that thing is freaking ridiculous. That's amazing. I want one of those. So I reached out to David about 3 weeks ago. And I said, David, I need a testimonial video for one of our courses. Here you go. So we literally paid him $700 for one incredible video. Do you know how excited I was to pay David to do that? And then what, David, how many days did that thing take you to make? It was like a 2-day video project or something. Like it wasn't like David cranked that crap out for us so fast. And it was amazing. It was so good. It was so good. And you better believe that I loved paying David for that. And it wasn't like, oh, I don't know if I can afford that. I was like, no, I'm a business. David is helping me get customers and clients and help people see the value that I bring. I will gladly pay David that for one video. I remember when I was early on in video editing and couldn't ask for $30. Like, but this can happen. And now David is editing videos and podcasts for some of the biggest names out there in healthcare right now. Anyone know Greg Todd? Well, David is the creative genius behind Greg Todd stuff. Like, now he is making a name for himself because he started putting himself out there. He had the skill and he just started putting himself out there. And now he puts himself out there more and more and more and can create an income from this. And David is building an empire from this. And I know he's too modest to say like, yeah, I'm not building an empire yet. No, but you're on your way, dude. And it's just an amazing skill set. David, we love you, man. We love you. Okay. Let's talk about, there we go. Let's talk about Kristen, Will.
Yeah. So Kristen Smith was one of our original Healthy Funnel interns. She was a PT student when we met her. When she decided to join our internship program, we taught her Facebook ads, Google ads, how to make websites, and how to write emails for businesses. Well, Kristen got her first client a little over 2 years ago for $300 a month to run Facebook ads, which she didn't know because she had ran for free for a few people ahead of time, got some confidence, got introduced to a business owner, and ran Facebook ads for this person. Well, now today, Kristen actually doesn't even work part-time as a physical therapist. She does PRN. She made over $75K last year writing emails and doing Google ads for small businesses. By the way, her initial offer for a PT salary was less than that. I asked her today, I said, Kristen, like, what's a low month for you? She said, a low month right now is $5K a month, writing emails and running Google ads for businesses. Kristen is absolutely incredible. And by the way, she knew none of this 2 years ago when she was our intern.
Oh, so cool. Let's talk about one of our other interns from 2 years ago. Again, it's just blown this stuff up. Has his own Facebook group now teaching this stuff. Joey he was a dental, I believe it's dental hygienist is the correct, I could be wrong. He was in dentistry when he came to us and was applying for PT school. He's currently in PT school right now, like literally in PT school, is married, in PT school. And you know how they tell you, has anyone heard the guidance to like, hey, don't work while you're in PT school? Has anyone been told that if you're in PT school or you were, did you get told to not work? Well, guess what? He's still busy, but in PT school, his slow month, $4,000 a month, because he knows how to run Google ads and Facebook ads for PT clinics while he's in school. And look at this quote. This is so cool to me. I've paid off all my student loans and I'm now paying for my school in cash because of this skill set. How many of you would love to be able to pay cash for school because of a side hustle income? Because you learned a high value skill. Now, did Joey just wake up one morning and say, oh, I'm going to start charging $4,000 for this? No. In fact, when Joey got to us, he'd been studying just a little bit of it, but he'd never set up a Facebook ad before. Like, it's like, here, learn the skill, practice on someone, which is what we give people. We did the same for Joey. We gave him a project to be able to say, here's a project. Let's go do this. Try it out for free with us. And got his first clients. And now runs an entire business on the side while he's in PT school. Oh, and he's married. $4K a month.
The cool thing to me with Joey is, I asked Joey, I reached out to some of our former students earlier today, and Joey goes, man, I kind of wish I didn't have PT school because I could probably be making $10,000 a month, which is just mind boggling. Like, it was so cool for him to say. And he, we just want to show you, these are real people. Joey, again, 2 years ago, we started an intern program. Knew a tiny bit, but had never actually implemented any of these skills. And now, I mean, it almost brings me to tears to think about, like, when he sent me this text earlier today, it said, I can tell you I've paid off all my student loans. I literally have it legit on my phone, and I'm now paying for my school in cash. I just think about that $155,000 student loan debt that I owed, and I think about that $1,100 a month bill. And I think about how much brighter my life would have looked, how much stress would have been reduced if I could have felt that. And this is why we do this. We've seen what's possible. And hearing Joey's story, and we're going to show Chloe here in a second, who, you might be like, well, maybe these are exceptions, right? This has just happened over and over and over again for our students. And Chloe creates content through videos for businesses. She writes Facebook posts and content. She's a pre-PT student when she took our Make Money in Class course, which was the very first version of this. And she's made over $4K in the last 8 months.
So cool. Like the principles here, this is what I really want you to think about. What are the principles here? What is it that Will and Alex are trying to show me what I can do and how I do? The principles of all of these people are exactly the same. They explored these different skills. They tested them out on their own projects. They helped somebody else, probably for free or maybe for really cheap. And then they can go to people with confidence saying, yes, I can help you with that, and make real income. And that's the principle. And if this is something that you're like, man, this sounds amazing. How many of you feel like what we just talked about sounds amazing? If you feel like that, like having that in your life right now sounds amazing, just put amazing in the comments right now. Does that legitimately sound amazing? If it's like, oh, that's cool, like totally fine. If it's not cool, like, you can tell us. But to me, that's incredible. For people that don't have degrees in this stuff. In fact, most of them have degrees in something completely unrelated. Most of them are healthcare providers doing this on the side to start off. It's amazing, right? So our question is, how would you like us to teach you these core skills to help you complete your first project doing this and to guide you through getting your first paid client? Like how to do each of these, how to learn the video editing, how to learn email copywriting, how to learn podcasting and YouTube editing or video editing, how to learn Facebook ads, Google ads, how do I interface with clients? Well, what if I could do you one better and say, what if we actually had these experts that we just showed you teach you how they've done it themselves? That's what we want to introduce to you tonight. It's something that we have worked for years to be able to bring together for you. It's something called Digital Income School. It's a 10-week deep dive on how to learn and implement each of these skills so that you can then go take it to the marketplace, have a skill set outside of what you might already have to be able to create income for yourself, and if you've got a family, for your family. I want to show you what Digital Income School is, because this has been a passion project for us that honestly Will has been telling me for years. He said, we need to do this. And I want to thank Will for putting this together in such a cool way. Can we show him what we put together, Will?
Yeah. How would you like to learn all this stuff from the people who are actually doing it?
This is, we want you to meet your coaches here. So this is Joseph. Joseph, dude, like, is Joseph not one of the most next level individuals you know, Will?
Sharpest dressed man I know.
So Joseph is a PT who, while he was in PT school, started his own business and then started training interns on a lot of these skills. And once he created all of these interns for his own business, he started realizing, hey, I could just like connect them with small businesses and help them like start earning income from this stuff. And Joseph has gotten this down to a T. He knows how to connect with small business owners so that when you take these skills, you're able to get in front of people to be able to get clients. Like dude's a straight beast. Anyone here know Joseph? Just say Joseph in the comments. Like, this dude is a beast. Right? He's my guy, says Christian. Oh my goodness, this man is amazing. So what we've done is we're bringing Joseph in as a coach. It's going to be near the end of the program to be able to show you, great, now that you know these skills, how do you end up going to connect with small business owners? How do you work with clients? Like, what's the client management look like to be able to take good care of someone so that you keep getting more? Just saw in April 2120. Yeah, he's amazing. Anything else, Will, about Joseph before we look at the other coaches?
No, we just realized one of the things that you're gonna do is we're gonna teach you outreach on how to go actually find clients, which is always the biggest thing. Well, how do I go find clients? So we've mastered outreach, and then we thought, why don't we bring in someone who knows how to connect with all these small business owners for you? Because you're already thinking, what do I do? So we're bringing in Joseph to take care of that piece. Then Alex, we've got Jordan Mather to teach
websites and Facebook ads. The dude who is getting paid, literally, they're making so much money right now in their, again, Will said it, they have a multi-six-figure business doing this stuff as an agency now. And they're going to come in and teach website design from the masters, Facebook ads from the masters. And we'll look at like, what's the curriculum in this program? But Jordan's going to be our website and Facebook ads coach. We brought in the amazing David Cardellano for podcast editing and video editing. What is his flow? Like when he's creating videos, how does he do it? How does he make good creative work? And then how did he get his clients early on? We're asking all of our coaches to go tell their stories and give their tactics of how do I get clients? So not only teaching the skills, but for each individual skill, how are they getting clients for that skill? And we're stringing them all together in this massive, really cool project for you that you're going to create as you're in Digital Income School with us. And then we have Kristen, of course. What's Kristen going to be diving into for us?
Yeah, Kristen's going to walk us through her email marketing and copywriting strategy, the way that she does that for businesses. And she's going to go through her Google Ads process, how she sets up Google Ads for businesses, which, by the way, just a reminder, these two skills alone have her making over $5,000 a month on the low end. And she's going to walk you through her exact process of what she does.
Ooh. All right. So let's look at, this is the schedule of the program. Will and I are firm believers that if your mindset is wrong around this, you will continue to self-sabotage. This is why we teach so much mindset here and why we start the program with mindset. We get your mind right, then we move into client flow. Week 1 starts next Thursday. Okay, so next Thursday, week 1, money mindset, client flow, how this whole thing is going to go, how you're going to be getting your clients, making sure that you're dialed in and set as we actually get into building your project. So we said, this is about actually building something for yourself first. So we're going to help you actually build the website. We're going to teach you how to set it up. Jordan's going to walk you through his flow. Hey, when I'm building websites, here's what matters. Here's also how I get my website clients. Then we move into creating an email sequence for yourself. What do you end up needing to write to get someone interested in what you're doing? Now, if you're like, I don't have like a project right now, it's okay. We're going to come up with, you're going to create one, even if it's something that's just like completely off the wall that you know from 7th grade. We want you to have experience actually doing this for yourself so that you can help your clients do it. So we're going to move from building a website about your project. And honestly, this is like going to be your personal website moving forward. Like if it's Kate Pratt, if this is you might be building out katepratt.com. We're going to show you how do you build out the website. And by the end of that week, you're going to have your own personal website. It's going to be actually live, ready to show people.
Guys, the goal by the end of this is you will have your own portfolio to show to other businesses of what you've done. So you're going to have your own website. It's going to have your own emails if someone were to opt into your website. On your website, you're going to have your own podcast episode with a video promo, which David walks you through both of those, how to have the video promo up for your own podcast episode. And then we're going to have you set up a Facebook ad and a Google ad You're not going to have to spend money. Don't worry. That's always a question. Oh, I don't want to, you're not going to spend money. You're going to learn how to run one to your own website. And that way you can show clients, I have already done this. Does that sound good? Does that sound better than just like, here's theory? But you're actually going to have an actual portfolio to go show to businesses? Does that make sense? Like, if that sounds cool, just put cool. Like, if that sounds cool, cool. We want this to be meaningful, not, hey, I went to class and I read chapter 3 this week. And like, yeah, I learned a lot about, cardio pulm issues, but, I'm never going to see that in the clinic. No, none of that. None of that here. We don't do that. You're going to be able to go, hey, do you need help with your website? Look at my website. Whoa, I like the way that looks. Hey, do you need emails for your website? Or you need emails for your business? Maybe. Hey, opt into my site. Read my emails. I've already made them. Hey, do you guys have a podcast? Listen to my episode number 1. By the way, we give you the script. We teach you how to do it. David walks you through the exact process to do it. Oh, you need to have a video promo for that? That's the next piece. It goes right on your website, your own website. And we teach you how to do the Facebook ad and Google ad setup, and we go in that order.
Yep. I didn't put this on here because I'm an idiot. Week 10 is where we bring in Joseph and we talk through client acquisition. How do you get clients? And then if you notice in here, we actually built in, what's that?
I teach you how to do the video outreach. Like, how do you go actually make videos to reach out to local businesses? I walk you through step-by-step the email scripts that you send. How do you actually talk to them if you get them on the phone? I'm going to walk you through all of that in week 10.
Yes. And then we go into a 2-week, we have this 2-week sprint where we actually are going to have you go and get your first clients. And by the end of this, the goal is whoever has gotten their first clients by the end of this program is going to get a special bonus that we're putting together. But you notice we've actually built this in a very logical way with breaks in there. So if you're like, oh, this sounds kind of overwhelming, like I get it, but we're also going to make it really simple. And somebody asked, hey, are you going to actually teach the skills? Our coaches are going to actually teach the skills. And now we're not going to go like, hey, here's how to be the best video editor in the world. No, this is about exploring each of these skills, getting baseline competent in each of these, and actually finishing a project around them so that you can figure out what it is that you want to dive deep on. And you're going to have it done by the end. And then we built in break weeks for it because we know that we built in catch-up time for it. Okay. So this is the schedule. And I just want to walk you through like what's involved in the program. So it's 10 weeks of expert instruction. We talk through who the coaches are. We talk through the schedule. You're going to be learning these 6 core digital skills plus client acquisition. So again, we're going to be building websites. Number 1, we're going to be doing email copywriting and automation. Number 2, we're going to be doing podcast editing, video editing, Facebook ads, and Google ads. Those are the 6 core digital skills that we're going to be teaching. Plus, how do you bring those together to actually get clients? Then there's community support. And this, we opened this up last week to people. It's like a freaking party in there. It is ridiculous. People are so hyped up. We have a community where you're going to be able to go in, and we have some really cool accountability things that we're bringing into this to keep you on track and for you to be able to show your progress throughout it and get feedback from other students who are going through the program at the same time. Don't worry, we'll all be socially distanced. We have live expert Q&As. So we're bringing in these incredible coaches, and they'll also be doing Q&As to like in their given week to talk through like, here's what's going on. Here's questions and answers. We have, well, I don't know if I could put this on here, but I totally did. Can I still put this on here, Will?
You technically was supposed to end by before this. So
it ended then. Totally came off.
What I want to say is how we make this work is you will get your homework on a Thursday night. So you will get a new lesson on Thursday night after a live training. And then you have the entire week to fulfill the lesson. And it's designed to not take you more than 4 to 5 hours in that week at most.
Ooh. Okay. I love it. So
the following Thursday, you get a live Q&A with that coach whose videos you just went through to implement. And then it repeats. Thursday, after that live training, you get dropped the next set of things that you do. So it's not all just shoved at you, go do it, right? There's a specific flow and order to this.
I love it. Here's how it's going to work. It's going to be one payment of $297. Yes. Only $297. We're making this ridiculously low price because, again, this is about mission for us. Or if you're like, hey, guys, there's cash flow issues right now. We split it into 3 payments of $107 or 6 payments of $67.
5 payments of 67. Sorry.
It's a 5. Oh my goodness, I'm just screwing everything up. I'm sorry. I looked at the payment. Okay, 5 payments of 67. Thank you for checking my math, Will. This is where you go to get signed up right now. digitalincomeschool.com. digitalincomeschool.com. And what I want to invite you to do right now is think about all of these different skills brought together in one flow, plus how do we actually end up getting clients from it? What would that actually be worth to you? And again, this is why we asked the question early on, like if you could get to the point where you're making $300 a month just doing podcast editing for one person. Will, how long did it take you to do podcast editing each month? When you were doing it for clients for one podcast, about how long would it take you per month?
6 hours.
6 hours. For 6 hours, and you're able to get one client at $300 a month, which by the way is a very reasonable price to expect for a weekly podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be worth it to you to pay $297 to be able to make $300 a month in 6 hours?
Yeah.
Being very conservative, like just very realistically. I mean, you saw on the upper end what people are doing with this, where they're actually making full-time incomes from this. But that alone, just that one skill alone, would that make it worth it for you? Yes or no? I want you to put in the comments right now. Yes or no? Would that make it worth it? That one thing. If you can make $300 a month in 6 hours, would that make it worth it to you? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, good. Y'all can do math. Good.
If this is your first time listening to us too, I really want you to know from the bottom of our heart, this is a mission for us. This isn't a program where we sit here and go, this is about Alex and Will, and we want to have this program, and we want to like make a ton of money from this. Truthfully, we've been told that we should sell this program for $2,000 to $3,000. And I just thought, if I were a student, there's no way I would have justified to myself to pay that. We thought, what do we do to help people? Because I have learned that the biggest stress that I have found in my friends who are PTs, who are OTs, who are speech therapists is I don't know how to get more money besides going to do PRN work on weekends. We're talking about people with kids. We're talking about moms. We're talking about dads. We're talking about people who have lives that they want to live. I had friends who I played soccer with, and we would play on Sundays. And he could only make half of the games because half of those weekends, he had to go work PRN on top of his full-time physical therapy job. And I was like, why, man? He's like, dude, my student loan bill is like $1,400 a month. And I was like, geez, yeah, I get it. We don't want any of you to have to experience that. Learning just one of these skills, we're not talking about $300 a month. I'm talking about thousands of dollars for the rest of your life. If you put in effort to learn these, learn how to communicate, which I'm going to talk you through. We do this because we're a mission-based company. We believe that everyone at the core, what Alex and I believe is we want people to have options in their lives. Who has ever felt cornered in your life? If you've ever felt cornered, will you just comment cornered? Like you feel back against a wall, you feel cornered before, like, I don't know where to turn to, I don't know how to get out, because that is the thing that we do not want people to ever experience. Because that's what I felt when I saw that $1,100 a month bill. And I thought, what am I going to do? And the only recourse I had at that moment was I have to just work more hours. I couldn't magically get better at physical therapy that someone's going to be like, no, you know what? We'll double your income. We'll double your wage. We'll double your salary. It wasn't going to happen. I had to learn a new skill that I could, what's the word? I could trade that skill to be paid much more than what I was doing. Otherwise, I was just going to have to keep giving more and more time. And I tell you what, at the very worst, if you get into this program and $300 and you do nothing with it, you're going to learn that you don't want it bad enough. Because no one, even for $300, is going to build a life for you. And that's what you have to ask yourself right now. If I'm going to build a life for myself, am I equipped with enough skills, plural, in case something like this happens again, the time we live in, where the one skill that you have might be taken away. You need to, as Alex talks about in his Profit You financial course, you need to hedge. And Alex, maybe you can talk about hedging better. But being able to look at life and say, I have to be prepared. So I am never cornered again. And I don't want you to ever feel cornered again. And look, there are all kinds of things. If you're like, this isn't for me, go learn sales, right? Go learn a skill like sales. If this isn't for you, go learn a skill like sales. Sales applies to every industry in the world. Go learn that. I know that in our community, most people are freaked out about sales. And so what are the next best things that I would teach people to go learn? It is exactly these 6 skills. That's it. This isn't like let's dupe you into. These are the things we teach people over and over and over again, because they are what people pay money for. It helps businesses. And if you want to help people who don't have money, go do this for the businesses that serve those people.
Ooh.
Do you know how many charities need help with video editing to get attention? If they don't have enough attention, they don't have enough people, customers, yes, donors are customers in this case, they go out of business and that charity can no longer help people. Every single business, entity, nonprofit, which are for profit, by the way, that's just a sidebar. They just put it into different places, but that's a sidebar. They require attention, they require more customers, and they require the ability to collect money from those customers. I don't care if that's a church, I don't care if that's a multi-giant company or country corporation, I don't care if that's your local PT clinic. Every single one of those exists with attention, new customers, and collecting money from those customers. And that's what we want to teach you. Okay, we got 85 people on here still. All right, if you're in, just comment in. Are you getting in? Comment in if you are getting in the program. I want to know now. Like, I want you to commit right now if you are in, because if you're not in, that's cool too. Here's my thing. Here's Alex's big thing. If you are not, do you have to be in healthcare field to take your training? Absolutely not. These skills apply to every industry in the world. These apply to every industry in the world. If you are not in, by the way, that's okay. What I would say, because Alex and I, we love time. Alex loves to have time to spend with his family. I love to have time to go exercise, play soccer. If you are not in, go use your time somewhere right now. Go start doing whatever you need to do with your time. Can you rewatch each lesson? Yes, you get access to this for life, Anthony. You get access to any upgrades we make too. You get access, when you're in with us, you can ask anyone on here, when you're in with us, you're in for life. Everyone who took Make Money in class first time, they got this, they're getting this for free because they already came in. Sarah says, if we can't do it now, will you have another training later? Absolutely. At some point, Sarah, I just don't know when it's going to be again.
It'll be at least 10 weeks in the future.
Yeah,
it'll probably be, the next time we do it will probably be in about like 6 months-ish. We'll kind of see, but it will be available again for sure. What's the time commitment like? Helen, great question. So the time commitment depends a little bit on your comfort level with technology. I would honestly say, if you feel like, hey, yeah, I can crank through stuff, pretty comfortable with it, it might be a little bit easier. If you're like, I really got to get comfortable clicking the mouse, then that time might take a little bit longer, right? Will, for you, when you're creating a website, for example, at this point, how long do you kind of allocate to create a website like that?
When I first started out by myself, probably 30 hours. Yeah, like when I started out, didn't know what I was doing, probably 30 hours.
Yeah. Now, if you had the right instructions and a template for here's step-by-step, go do this, click this, go do this, click this.
Yes.
How much do you think it should take?
What's even cooler is if I learned from someone like Jordan, who actually goes through and has pre-made templates for you, that all you literally have to do is change the words. It would have taken me probably an hour a week.
Cool. So I would,
and then implement, I would say probably less than 5 hours a week.
Yeah. I like to think that if you can allocate 3 to 5 hours a week, I feel like is a pretty reasonable expectation for something like this. Some of you might take a little bit longer. Some of you can take a little bit less, but as a range, 3 to 5 hours a week. And again, we have those implementation weeks as well, because we know that things happen, life gets crazy. And we want to make sure that you have time to feel caught up with things. Some weeks are a little bit easier than others, right? And so That's the range.
But a great
Are there limited spots for the program, Jane? Will, are we limiting program spots at all?
We're going to look at probably capping somewhere between 100 and 150 is where we'll probably cap it at.
We've got 50 already in. Is that right?
Yes. So you should jump in if you're on the fence, because at some point we will cap it just for community management. At some point it'll be just too much to with Facebook posts, because we're going to have people posting. You're going to get a checklist. You have to go through the checklist and you have to post in the group after you finish something. This is not a like, hey, see ya. Like, no, we are there with you and we are going through this. Yolanda says, what tools do you need to do these skills? If you are watching this right now, you have all the tools that you need. We have had all of our teachers, other than you're going to have to pay to host a website, which a lot of you already have, and the domain name, which you can get for under 10 bucks. Other than that, everything is taught to you on free software that you can download. Free software. Everything's free. You don't need to spend money on ads. You don't need to spend money on Google. You don't need to spend money on any software. It is totally free. And if there is anything that might cost you money, it's on either 20 or 30 or 45-day free trials that you don't even have to put money into. We try to make it as simple and as bulletproof as possible that doesn't require anything technology-wise on your end outside of, if you are here right now, which means you have the internet and you have a phone or a computer, you're good.
Awesome. Will, let's talk, because I think that so that people are clear, what does it usually cost to get web hosting right now? And it doesn't matter if they know what that is yet or not, but just from a cost standpoint, because they'll need to have a website up, and there are usually costs associated minimally with having a website. But what's a reasonable expectation for how much that will cost?
Yeah, I think less than $100 a year. So like 10 bucks a month.
Yeah, 10 bucks a month. And then the website name, I actually just bought 2 new names this morning. It cost me $6 because I had a coupon. If I didn't, it would have cost me like $9.80 to get my website name. So how cool. Imagine having your website name. Like I have had my domain name, alexengar.com, for years, and I've never done anything with it because, like I told you, websites were not my jam. I so wish that I would have had this. Guys, I was so overwhelmed by this stuff. Like we're sitting here telling you that we have been able to do all this. At the same time, when we got started, this was just as overwhelming to us as it is to you right now. I still am overwhelmed by websites. That's why I'm not teaching the website side. That's why we're having someone like Jordan come in. At this point, I pay people like Jordan or people like Will and his team to build websites for me. But like, you don't have to go through that. You can figure it out and do it yourself and then know how to do it for other businesses. And I can tell you, other businesses are so willing to pay for this. Right now, I'm I actually told Will yesterday, I'm like, Will, send me an invoice so I can pay your team to build me a website. Like Will, send me an invoice, man, so I can pay you. Like I, as a business owner, am so excited to be able to pay someone to do this stuff for me. It feels so good to be able to do that. And guess what? The question is like, well, yeah, but are people paying for stuff right now? Like I just told you, we hired so many people in the past month. Businesses will be growing. I can guarantee you that because we are actively spending money on all this. We have paid email copywriters. We have paid social media copywriters. We have paid, we will probably at some point be paying website designers. We have paid for video editing. We pay for podcast editing every month. Like we are actively paying for all of this stuff too. So that's why I tell you businesses will pay for it because we're living that. And we know that our friends are still asking for, hey, do you guys know someone who could do that all the time? I'm sending more people right now to our podcast editor because she knows how to edit podcasts. I sent multiple people this week to our graphic designer. I sent multiple people to our let's see, who else have I sent this week? To our video editor, our graphic designer, our podcaster. Yeah, I've sent people to all those this week. There are still people buying this stuff right now. And it's only going to increase as we come out of this craziness.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Heidi says, this is so much value, more than $3,000. Thank you. Thank you so much. We honestly just looked at how can we make as ridiculously awesome a program as possible and make it affordable for people right now. Because again, we have a very thriving business outside of this. Like we're good. We are good. We want to do something that allows us to be able to pair coaches well, to be able to help you commit to doing something and getting it done, and then to be able to grow the mission. The mission is, can we help people be more in control of their finances so that they can be in control of their life? Like that, for me, there is no greater satisfaction than being able to help someone get control so that they don't have to make decisions out of scarcity all the time. Because I firmly believe, I said this earlier, the best version of yourself listening to this right now, you know that the best version of yourself isn't making decisions based off, oh, I can't afford that again. You're not. The best version of yourself is someone who's confident. The best version of yourself is someone who is good financially. The best version of yourself is someone who has the ability to provide for your family every day. And I've had so many friends right now who can't do it. And it's killing me, guys. This stuff is serious. That's why this is so important to us. Like if I look back at 3 years ago, if I hadn't started learning these things, I felt bad 3 years ago because I was video editing when I should have been treating as a doctor of physical therapy. And I am so glad 3 years ago, I made the decision to be a little bit different than everyone around me and learn skills that could compensate me more, but allow me to work. I would probably not have a job right now. I would not be able to provide for my family. And last week, we brought my wife home from work. We've been looking forward to that for 8 years. Do you know how much it means to be able to bring her home and say, here, let's let you focus on taking care of the kids while they're home all day? That means the world to me. I want you to be able to have that level of control over your life. And when I look at how did it get started for me, this was it. It was opening up my mindset to there's different ways to serve people. It was opening up my mindset to I can solve wealth problems for people. It was opening up my mindset to I'll diversify my skill set, learn new things, and be able to provide for my family because I stepped outside of my comfort zone. And I started serving people with bigger problems. And that's what we want you to be able to do for yourself. I would feel so bad right now if I hadn't told myself 3 years ago that, like, Alex, you need to do this right now. I felt the inkling and it didn't quite feel right at the time. It was like, oh, I felt this conflict. It's like, I don't know if I should be doing this right now, but I felt that push and I followed that push and I'm so glad I did. And if you're feeling that push right now in your life, I don't care if it's towards digital income school or something else completely. Follow whatever that push is telling you. Like, do what you need to be able to take care of yourself and your family. And if that means learning a new skill set, so be it. So be it. And if you're already a practicing clinician, maybe you already have a business, you're like, man, this is hitting me hard. How much more do you need to be able to do this stuff for your business? And that's honestly, I guess that's a question too that we should address. What if I have a business and I want to do this for my business? Can I do it? You can. It's not the point of the program. It's not the aim of the program. The aim of the program is let's get you to baseline level with each of these skills so that you can create an income stream out of it. If you do have a business right now and you're thinking about, man, I really want to apply these skills for my business, absolutely they can be applied to your business. Like if you're like, I really do, I want to learn baseline video editing. Cool. I did too during my business and it helped me out too. I wish that I had this course 3 years ago. Like, yeah, it is going to be able to help that. Just know that that's not necessarily the primary aim of it. Are you going to be able to apply it to that and learn these skills for your business so that someday you can hire them off better? Yeah, of course. But I just wanted to answer that. Heidi says, thank you so much. In addition, the best version of yourself is getting these high value skills. For me, having these skills is the new holistic best version of oneself. Thank you, Heidi. As a DPT student, I think all these skills are extremely valuable. It's awesome that you guys are making it affordable. Thank you, says Megan. Thank you, Megan. Sorry, okay, I've cried enough for tonight.
No, that was, dude. That was, man. Thank you for sharing that, Alex. That was, dude. I guess at this point, guys, if you're on here, it's been 2 hours and 20 minutes, which is amazing.
Yeah, seriously.
I want to say thank you to you guys, which is amazing for being on here. And we just want to ask, like, Alex has got to get back to his family. It's almost 11 p.m. Eastern time where I'm at.
There's still 70 of you on here.
There's 68 of you.
Oh my gosh.
I'm willing to sit here for another 5-10 minutes and answer questions if you guys need. But we got, like, dude, Zach Meese is on here. Wesley, Timothy, Tim, Thomas Kraus, Thaddeus, Taylor Swint, Taylor Kong, Suzanne, Sophia, Ryan, Rajat, Patrick, what questions can we answer for you guys? Even if it's not about, if you're like, dude, I'm not getting in the program, that's cool. Like, what questions can we answer? You got 5 minutes of our time, maybe 10. Sit here. If you want us to answer any questions, whether it's about the program, about life, about anything, we're here for you guys. Genuinely, we remember what it's like. What do you have to keep in mind liability-wise? I'm not sure what you mean, Helen. But if you mean liability about like paying for services or collecting money, what we do is we teach, we always recommend that you get your first 1 or 2 clients and use that money to pay for an LLC if you don't have one. And insurance-wise, Helen, we don't really, none of us ever started with insurance. If you want to, I'm sure you could look into that. We're certainly not lawyers. But what we did is we made our first few $1,000s as self-employed, right? So you just collect money as you, and then you're able to go pay for an LLC. What we don't recommend is go the full kit and caboodle, make your LLC, do all this stuff, right? And then again, we're not legal experts. So again, it's kind of something up to you. But we always say collect money first as a self-employed person. And then as you limited liability company, yes. So after you've made, sorry, Alex, I should leave this for you.
Yeah, LLC. Yeah, that's what you'd ultimately want to create for yourself for legal protection and asset protect, like to take care of the money. Yeah, but we don't recommend setting that up until you can pay for it. Like we're big fans of not paying for something until you've made money to pay for the thing as much as possible, just because that's how we've run our own businesses, and we see people wasting money on things they don't need. So hopefully we'll help you to avoid some of that. Where do I sign up for the program? Let's drop the. I should just share my screen again. Sorry, I took it off. Let's see. Share screen 1. Oh, not that screen. Where is it?
Cool.
Let's see. There we go.
So I want to answer a few questions real quick, which was, I think it's either Habe or Jabe has a question, which is big. It'll take a little bit of time. So we'll come back to that one, Habe. We'll come back to that one. Sheila says, step away for a second. Missed your answer would be using Kajabi as the website platform. We will not. We're going to teach you WordPress. And here's the reason why. Because again, this isn't for you. We're teaching you as if you were going to create services for people. And while Kajabi is a great platform and you certainly can use it, we have plenty of trainings on Kajabi if that's something sidebar that you needed. But what we do is we teach how to make very clean, simple WordPress websites. And why that is because they can look great on phones. And over 60% of the internet traffic on the world is through phones now. If you can't make a website that looks good on a phone, no one's going to want to buy it. So we teach you how to do that. Then we had, I've already have an LLC and bought a domain website trying to figure out how to set this company up for a breadth of different avenues. Cool. Yep. So if you got that part down, you're good. You're great. And what we're going to teach you is going to help with that. Jagruti, haven't set up an LLC yet. Plan to do over a year. How will this help towards this goal? So no domain yet. Yeah. I mean, ultimately, you didn't even need to have any of those yet. So you're good. Like having an LLC ahead of time is great, but not necessarily even something that you need at this point, especially not for this program. It's going to help you in that when you're ready to collect money from clients, you can funnel it through your business rather than your personal, which Alex can teach you about how taxes play a role in that, but that's kind of a higher level, different question. Let's see, we got, Alex, we had a really big question, which was, how do you get over the hump of realizing that being a working PT was not enough to provide for your needs?
Ooh, that's when we start looking at, I talked about this yesterday in a coaching call, or actually it was on a live stream, of forgiving yourself for past decisions. And not in the sense of like you made a bad choice, not at all. In the sense of, number one, you have to come to the realization that you have always made the best decision for yourself at the time based on your current knowledge. And accepting that. And accepting that you have always tried to do what's best for yourself and for your family. And you made the best decision at the time based off your current understanding of it. And that's, I think, number one. And I've dealt with that as someone who's gone through PT school, and then I'm not currently practicing. I beat myself up a lot about that. But I made that decision to the best of my understanding at the time. That was the best thing for my family, so I decided that. And could I have created income for my family as a full-time PT? Of course, absolutely. Right now, would I be in a tough spot? Yeah, very potentially. And I'm not saying that making the choice to be a full-time PT is bad for anyone, not at all. there's so many people that I know who absolutely love it. And that's why I think the decision is always yours as to what you want to do with your life. And that's the core principle that Will and I abide by, is that like, you do you, live your life according to what is important to you and your values. And so if being a full-time treating PT is what you love, you can make that work. You absolutely can. Don't beat yourself up about it. If you're realizing like, man, I need to shift gears, well, that's fine. Shifting gears is fine. We all pivot all the time. So you just have to decide, what do I really want? What are the different paths that I could take? Start walking down those paths a little bit and seeing what's it like. That's why exploration is the first step of our program specifically, to figure out what does it look like to do this. And I would not be where I'm at right now in the life circumstance that I'm in if I hadn't allowed myself to explore a little bit, versus just expect that I needed to follow a status quo path in life. So short answer is, you can make whatever you want out of your career right now. You can continue to be a treating PT and do well for yourself under a variety of circumstances that could work really well for you. I've got plenty of friends who are very happy and doing very well as PTs. And I have lots of friends who have decided to go different routes. And at the end of the day, the principle is you can make anything work as long as you work. And so you get to decide, what path do I want to take? And if what you're doing right now isn't working for you and your family, then that's when it's time to take a look and say, what are my options to create a different life for myself? And what do those look like? And then we try it and we see how it feels. And if we like it and we feel like that's the right direction to keep going, then we keep going down that path. And if it's not, we've learned a lot and we continue searching. That's how I deal with it.
Great answer. Man. Poppy says, thank you. Looking forward to working with us in the future. Let's see. So I want to answer some simple ones really quick. Kate Pratt asks, in building a website, is adding an online store or product section covered? Kate, it's not. That's just sort of a higher level thing. And it's not, it's something that you can YouTube quickly if you want to. So it's just not going to be right for everyone. Again, this is what you would do for a client. So if that's something you want personally, that would be something that you could learn quickly in YouTube. We teach you, I mean, there's plenty of videos on how to add WooCommerce to your WordPress website, which you can do really simply for free. Let's see, any penalties if we are late to class during Thursdays? I'm clinic till 8 p.m. Eastern time. Yes, you are kicked out of the program, Patrick, if you can't. No, I'm just kidding. You're totally fine. The live Q&As on Thursday nights are Q&A with the teachers. So when you, so you're gonna have a whole week ahead of time to go through their instruction, implement it, and then you're gonna be able to come with questions. So think of it as office hours after that week. So it's not mandatory. They'll all be recorded. You can catch them later if you need to. And we're even gonna have a way for you to submit questions ahead of time to them. So you can even get your question answered even if you can't be there live. So don't worry about it. And what time will they be? They'll be at 8:30 p.m. Eastern with the coaches every Thursday night. There may be a time where it's at 8, but somewhere between 8 and 9, always Eastern, will be what time that they'll be going live. Amber says, all signed up. I love it. What makes your program, Jessica, great question. What makes your program different and better than others? The first one is, I would just say, 1, you're learning from people who've done it. 2, I don't know anyone who teaches these things for $300 for just one of them. And then we're teaching all of these for less than $300. Like, I've taken courses on every single one of these that have been well over $300 alone. You're getting people who are like you, who have done this, and you get access to people.
Can I answer this real quick? I think a big part of my decision making, just to answer this again, I get back to like how do I make decisions, is do I resonate with the people that are teaching it, and do I feel like they're people I want to learn from? Like, Will and I have a lot of coaches that, heck, even some that we've purchased from, but we see a lot of people and it's like, I really don't resonate with them. And so I make my decisions a lot based off, does it seem like they actually have a path for me to go through? This is really important when choosing any program, any course, regardless of whether it's ours or somebody else's. You have to see, do they have a clear path for me to walk? Okay, even before that, do they have results for other people? Because if they've only gotten results once for themselves, I don't want to be like the guinea pig necessarily. Okay, does that make sense? So do they have other results for people? And the people that they've gotten results for, are they similar to me? Like, can I see myself in them to see, okay, yeah, they have a situation that's maybe similar to mine. I'll bet that I could fit into their pattern. Number two is, do they have a clear framework? Meaning, do they have a process to walk me through from start to finish? If they don't have a framework, it's like trying to cook recipes and saying, here's all the ingredients, go make cookies. It's like, no, what order do I mix them in? How much of each? And how long do I put it in the oven so that I get the cookies that you're showing me? You can have all the ingredients all day, but if you don't have the right recipe for those ingredients, you end up with some pretty crappy cookies. I would know because I've made lots of crappy cookies. So number one, do they have results from people that I see being like attainable, realistic for me? And do I believe them? Number two is, do they have a framework to put me into that is like, cool, start here and here? And number three is, do I like them? That's how I make my decisions about what programs I'm buying from. So are other people teaching this stuff out there? Heck yeah. Like, can you go get this stuff for free on YouTube? Yeah, probably. It's just gonna take you a lot of time, and you're not gonna have a framework within which to learn it like this. And there's not going to be the community support and accountability, right? And so it's that trade-off. Like, whether there are probably other programs, and I've been through all of them, so I can't tell you like, hey, these are the differences, but I can tell you, here's how we run our show. We run our show by focusing on client results, number one, and hopefully that's been evident in the people that we've talked about. Number two, we have a very clear framework for what's the beginning, how do we move from the beginning all the way through to the end, and what's the path that we walk you through. And this is why we show you our framework in the webinar, so you can see what's the framework. The framework is learn the skill itself, practice it yourself, practice on somebody else, probably for free, and then go get clients. That's the framework. And then within each of that, it's like, okay, cool. How do we break down the skills? Yeah. But that's the framework. So it's a little bit of you too now having to assess, do I jive with that? Do I jive with them? Do I feel like they've got their crap together? And have they gotten any results for people? That's just how I make all my decisions about buying courses and getting into programs, period. And then the last thing is, am I willing to do the work? Like, if you're willing to do the work, it'll work. It's not like you join the program and suddenly you have tons of clients coming to you. Of course not. You have to put in actual effort. You get in life according to the effort that you put out, like, period. And so we're giving you a framework to apply that effort, and we're giving you a group of people who are doing it at the same time with you to provide structure and accountability. And then we're actually giving you availability to talk with experts to be able to ask them questions as you implement the stuff. So that's why I see the value in the program being, how's it different? Well, Will and I don't teach like everyone else, and we also have that separate framework in how we deal with things. So hopefully that answered your question. That was the long answer. The short answer is, hey, if you don't like Will and Alex, don't buy from them. I don't know. I think that anyone who has purchased from us before, I guess I would just ask this too, because there's 70 something, there was 70 on, I don't know how many there are now because it's bedtime. But for anyone who's been in any of our programs before, are our programs any good? Like, just yes or no? Do we have decent programs? Just curious. Do we have decent programs? Legit, says Jeff Denning. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate you, brother. That's always my favorite way. Just go ask people who've been in people's stuff, like, hey, is it any good? Is it not? Like,
So Jessica, the coaches don't have small intro videos, but we can have them make them. And so actually we will close out enrollment probably late Wednesday night at midnight, maybe Thursday. So we can put those, we can get them in there. So we can have them make videos of themselves. It's a great question. We'll have videos of them.
I like that.
But we can definitely get that done for you if that's something that's making you question.
Or you go check out their stuff on Facebook. Like, go search their name. Go search for Joseph. Go search for Kristen. That's the best way, to be honest. Go search for, and like, we can obviously put something together. But that's my favorite way of stalking people, is I go look at their Facebook profiles and I go see, what do they actually talk about in their posts? What's their tone and their demeanor? And then you get like the realist person, right? Like, that's
all of them, other than Kristen, have their own podcasts, and Kristen has been on podcast episodes. So you could just put in their names and then podcasts, and you'll be able to pull up their podcast videos. I'm pretty sure most of them even have YouTube videos for their podcasts, hence why they're coaches, to be in here. So you could do that. Grace says, if I have a business in mind, will this help me? 100%. You might have missed the part where Alex went through, like, you were making an entire project based around whatever idea that you have or want to put together.
So if that happens to be a legit business idea, absolutely. Like you would be building out a website for it. You would be building out video. You'd be building out a podcast. You'd be building out like all the email lists. So it would actually get you to do the things for your program. And then that would be perfect. We got a great question here. What if I don't have any experience? So Sophia. That's exactly where we were at. And really that's who this program is designed for, is someone who's starting from ground zero and just doesn't have any experience in any of these. It's about, let's explore these together. Let's get you at baseline skills to be able to build a baseline website, to be able to build an email follow-up sequence, to be able to edit a video start to finish, to edit a podcast and get it up and live start to finish. So if you haven't done it before, that's who this is aimed at, truly. And if you've got some experience in these, then you'll fly through it all the faster and be able to explore these other skills along with them and actually create a cohesive, project from start to finish. Great question. Cool.
Well, all
right.
Been over 2.5 hours, and I can't believe there's still 45 of you guys on here.
What?
Obviously, if we haven't answered any of the questions, feel free to. I would just ask other people, honestly, if it's worth your while. I mean, I'll just be honest with you guys. If there were a program that were $300 when I was around, and I get it, times are tough too. And so Alex and I aren't here. Hopefully, you can tell we're not like, you got to get in. Come on, you got to do this. You got to get in. Like, if you know this isn't the time for you too, like that's totally cool too. We understand. We know times are weird right now. We want to make this as affordable as possible, so you can get in for $67 right now if you want to. It's our way of trying to give back. So if you're like, guys, no, I'm not ready, totally fine. Like, we're not here to try to push anything on you. Like, if you're just like, I need to know this, and I'm gonna need to know this at some point. I wanna increase my skill set. Guys, if you look at it, PT school teaches you one skill. Physical therapy services. Yes, are there a lot of skills within that? Sure. But when it comes to getting paid, you get paid for delivering one skill, physical therapy services. That skill, unless you run your own business, pays you at one rate, whatever the person tells you it is. And often that's dictated by insurance. Now imagine if you had 6 other skills that you could go to make money. How much easier would it be to be able to add more income and value into her life? So I just want you to do that. Like, and for $300, let's be real, guys, this is cheaper than an actual college course. And you're going to learn actual tactical things, like compared to a college course. Like, I just look back at my abnormal psychology class, which was like, cool. I love learning about abnormal psychology. I have applied literally 3 pages of that book in my entire life. Literally everything that you learn right now, within a week, you can go implement and try to like put yourself in a position to make money like a week later. You just can't, I don't know. I won't sit here and try to like convince you guys or overcome, like, you know, normally I'd be here. Come on, here's your last chance to get, guys, it's open for a week. If you want to get in, we'd love to have you. I know
we should say, when does it close? That's right. That's a good point.
Next Wednesday, either next, I don't know yet, either next Wednesday at midnight or Thursday during the day, because class opens.
Class starts, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, by the way, Jessica, thank you so much for the feedback. The webinar was great, and I feel mindset's important, so that intro, I feel will be great. Yeah, the whole thing is, if your mindset around this stuff isn't right, like you'll keep making the same poor decisions and keep self-sabotaging. Again, that's why it's like whatever you believe right now, you will continue to act according to that. So we do need to instill some new beliefs around your value. We're going to be increasing our confidence in ourselves. We're going to be seeing why we should be focusing on certain things and not others. And we're also going to help you, again, with focus in this program. Like, you're going to go through this, and I know that you're busy. And so there's going to be a measure of focus that's required to make this happen. So we'll give some strategies around that. I love the focus and personal development game. Like, how do I set up my day so I can accomplish crap and actually get it done? We're going to talk about that in week 1. Christine says, I'm doing Greg Todd's 2120 challenge right now, and I just signed up for this and in the middle of starting my own practice. Thanks for the encouragement and push for all. Wow. See, you got a lot going on right now. And so it's like, okay, yeah, managing that time. You're going to do great, Christine. And we're so excited to have you in. Will everything be done through Zoom or the website? So great question. All of the content for the program, the content for the course itself will be in a course platform. We use Kajabi for it, in case you're wondering. But we house it all in kind of a membership area. You can actually access it really easily through your phone. There's an app for it. So it's all there for you in that space. And then the live videos, I'm guessing, those will be all through Zoom, right? That's
Those
usually
will be all through Zoom. Yep, they'll be all through Zoom, and they'll also be streamed into the Facebook group.
Oh,
as
beautiful.
well as on Zoom. So yeah, you have both of those. Yep.
Perfect. Cool. Great question. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go watch a movie. I'm gonna go watch Star Wars Episode 7 with my wife for the next few minutes. Thank you guys for being on here tonight. Honestly, this is amazing. I can't believe how many of you guys were on here and for that long. If you're still on the fence, just know, like, look, we totally get it. If you have questions for us, you can reach out to us. We're real people. And we appreciate you. Your energy that you brought tonight, freaking fire. It was amazing. Love you guys. We'll send this replay out to you. Dude, Will, this was so much fun, man.
It was so much fun. If you found this valuable, the best thing that you could do for us is you could post in Healthcare Digital Marketing, our Facebook group, and tell people what you found valuable and that you enjoyed this experience, so more people would be interested. Again, you don't have to do this. Just that would be the biggest.
Wait. No. This is the assignment that I gave at the beginning. I got to finish it now. I want to hear what you learned. What was your biggest takeaway? I want you to put it in Healthcare Digital Marketing. Would you guys do that for me? We just gave you like 2.5 hours of our time away from other things that we could have been doing tonight. Would you do one thing for me? Take 1 minute and just put, I will, if you're willing to do this, and just go put your one takeaway in our Facebook group. It's called Healthcare Digital Marketing. Okay. If you're not in the group yet, go join it. But if you're already in the group, just go put one takeaway. Say, hey, Alex, tag us in it so we can see it. Hey, Alex and Will's training tonight, or Will and Alex's training was so great. I learned this. I would love that. That would be amazing, so we could see what you learned. And what you write down gets cemented, and you're actually much more likely to act on it. So I want you to do that. So you go do the thing.
Please do it there instead of sending us a Facebook message, because I love Facebook message, but as soon as it starts, we get like 50 to 100. And I know that sounds terrible. It's like more crowd than email inbox. So please just post in the group. I go check the group every single day and go respond to posts. That would be amazing.
Yeah. All right. This has been a blast. Will, thank you so much, man.
You got it. Bye, guys.